What up, homie? Oh, it's 8 o'clock. I should probably play the Jeep song. And I like this goddamn blunt. We got a lot to talk about today.
333 RIPP Don P PhD. Yeah. I said RIP TV. Tell the homie. Mob Deep Mondays, that's everyday, thoughty. It's all for the community. That's what P showed me. We lost without the unity. Where the fuck is the OGs? RIPP. God bless the real. Only for the righteous. The rest will go to hell. Flipping through the book of Revelation, figure it out. Transliterate the translation, do it yourself. It's the last days, life is a test and we in a cage. Concrete jungle, everyday struggle. Fuck the pain, I'm on some HNIC shit. A Gellion 3 shit. If you don't know what I mean, you was never G. Real shit, R.I.P. Yo, P, play that beat back, 333. Burn some weed, repeat that. Shake me up a tuka pack, break me off for 20 piece. I'm gone, never looking back. Y'all can't talk to me. RIP TV, tell the homie. Mob Deep Mondays, that's everyday, thoughty. It's all for the community. That's what P showed me. We lost without the unity. Where the fuck is the OGs? Like the weed, play some IMD for me. It's hell on earth for real, but y'all don't wanna see paper trail politics. All the shit was prophecy, strictly for the family. Peace to the prodigy. RIPP, I sleep when it's time for me. Dope dreams bring the skizzy, pour the Hennessy. Searching for some inner peace, couple hundred G's. Deadly weapons and some weed just for you and me. RIPP, I sleep when it's time for me. Dope dreams bring the skizzy, pour the Hennessy. Searching for some inner peace, couple hundred G's. Deadly weapons and some weed just for you and me. Yo.
Vegas, what up, homie? Right on time. Perfect timing.
What's good?
You know, I just ate some Mexican food, so my stomach's not really agreeing with me at this moment.
He's doing the cha-cha slide.
Oh yeah, slide to the left, slide to the right.
Crisscross.
Yeah, I'll make it. Yeah, ain't no crisscrossing going in there right now. You gonna have to host about 20 minutes of this show by yourself.
Boy.
So, I mean, I don't know. Nice is probably going to be late again because he does shit now. So whenever he pops in, it's the off season anyway. Whatever. And I haven't talked to Roger Harper outside of texting when Dak signed his deal.
It's about time.
Yeah, so I mean, fuck it. Let's just get started, dude. Congratulations, Dak. Congratulations.
It is.
You masterfully played that one out because you got it at 4 years instead of 5 or 6. You got a $66 million signing bonus. And $123 million guaranteed on 4 goddamn years.
Love it.
I love it. They didn't want to give him $40 million a year. They gave him $40 million a year.
They
He just held out until they just gave it to him. And you know what? Him and his agent are very smart because they played this masterfully because they allowed these social goings on in America to really get in their corner. And then the rumblings on social media, we talked about it all the time. Jerry doesn't like black quarterbacks.
Oh.
And what that would do to the rest of other free agents trying to come to your team. They would never come. Why would you?
Not only that, it was the I hate saying the perfect storm, but honestly for him,
It was.
yeah, getting hurt, and then Dallas saw what their quarterback situation looked like without him. Come on. There's no better marketing. Right
Well, also the salary cap is projected to hit $250 million.
More TV money comes. And new TV money.
250, son. That's $100 million more. Well, that's 70 more. They're doing 180 something right now.
Mm-hmm.
You look at 70 million more. Wow, that's impressive. But the players earned it.
Hell yeah. Well, I mean, you're also talking about adding an additional game. It's happening.
Yeah. Now, so we now have to adjust to 17 game schedules already.
Mm-hmm.
So I've already there were a bunch of tweets that went out and said, "Boy, I can't wait to watch Dak go 7-9 this year." And they were or not 8-9. They were already on the 17 game schedule. I said it ain't gonna be 8-8 anymore. It's gonna be 8-9 now. And I was like, "Damn, you guys should be happy that you signed a competent quarterback that the players love. His leadership is through the roof."
They love him. Yeah. Also, what is this going to do for the records? We're going to have to start looking at records a whole new way.
The same thing they did when they jumped from 14 to 16.
Right.
You know?
Yeah.
The only record that held up was OJ going for 2,000 yards in 14 games. Every other record has gone and been obliterated.
Say what you want about the juice. Boy can run.
Oh, they were just talking about the difference between OJ and Aaron Hernandez because AJ Hawk played against Aaron Hernandez and Gronk their rookie year when nobody really knew who they were, and he was talking about it. He's just like, yo, who the fuck are these two guys? Yeah, first of all, that guy's bigger than everyone. How is he bigger than everybody? And then he's like, well, that guy runs like a wide receiver, and he's bigger than everybody. And then somebody had to chime in and be like, well, the one difference is O.J. Simpson wasn't murdering people and then getting 200-yard games on Sundays. Aaron Hernandez was bodying people and then playing on Sunday.
Mm-hmm.
Showing up for the Patriot way of all teams.
Sure did.
Oh, my God. So talented, though. Jesus God, he was talented.
Didn't miss meetings. I mean, that is a talent.
Yeah, it was.
And then you still make it to work on time?
That is an actual talent to be able to live a duality in such a way. And fool a whole organization from ownership down to the trainers. Fooled everybody.
I mean, if he had a code, he'd be Dexter. He just didn't have a code. Because anybody could get it.
Everybody. What, you spilled a drink on my shoe? Drive by. Like... He pulled a drive-by in Boston because somebody spilled a drink on his shoes at the club.
Insane. Come on.
Just rage issues.
Yes.
Well, the reason they kept bringing him up is this tight end from Florida is flying up the draft board right now.
Yeah.
We had 12 touchdowns in like 8 games or something.
Yeah, now he's projected to go top 5.
Which is insane because tight ends never go that high.
I know.
That's reaching. That's really reaching that high up.
Grabbing a receiver that high is like, I don't know about that.
Yeah, I mean, you're trying to take him over top of Jalen Waddle, Devontae Adams, these guys that are like, you see Devontae Adams play, you're like, oh my God, this guy's amazing.
And while we have seen receivers go number 1 overall in Keyshawn Johnson, but honestly, and did Keyshawn help the Jets? Sure. Did he bring him a chip? No. He didn't win a chip until way later in his career.
And he wasn't even a stat guy anyway. He wasn't putting up big numbers. He put up a lot of catches because he's a possession receiver. Yeah. He's Michael Thomas before Michael Thomas.
Right. I mean, you can double him. He could still get off. Yeah.
Good at catching, good at using his hands in really tight spaces with people on him.
Very reliable, yes.
So it's hard to see in this era of quarterback play taking somebody that high that's not a quarterback, a D-end, or a left tackle.
Absolutely.
It's really hard to justify those moves at that high because somebody else will. So you can always back down and still get that tight end. But projected at 5 or 6, that's incredible. And also puts a big fucking spotlight on this kid from Florida, boy. If you don't pan out, I mean, look at your boy. Look, they're shopping him right now.
I know. Well, I mean, I told you we have no tight end.
Yeah. Somehow he made the fucking Pro Bowl. And that's still beyond me.
I'll never know. That didn't even make sense to me. That was ridiculous.
Yeah. So what is the potential fallout from Dak? So the first thing I was going to ask you, what's going to happen when Kyler Murray, Justin Herbert, all these young quarterbacks who are on their second, third, fourth year of their deals coming up, who are balling already, Joe Burrow, what kind of deal are they going to fucking get? $75 million a year or something retarded?
By the time it's time for their deals, they'll have the league will have that new TV money.
That's what I'm saying. You're looking at $250 million cap. You know, you're paying quarterbacks $40 million out of a $180 million cap. Dude, that's like...
It's gonna Patrick Mahomes' contract is gonna start to look like a discount.
Yeah, but the thing is, you know, and I always hated this about agents and sports in general, is they always just try to one-up the other contract. It has to be the richest in NFL history, the richest in NFL history, the richest in NFL history.
I mean, it's between them and also the players. I mean, the players also want that.
Of course they do, but what it does is it pushes the market into absurd. People start getting completely overpaid.
True, but also if you're an agent, do you give a shit about that? The higher the contract, the higher your commission.
Well, this is where things are differing. So, I think it's J.J. Watt's agent, I believe, is a female, and she's killing it in the NFL right now.
Okay.
And her agency does a retainer fee and then hourly work like a law firm. They don't take a percentage, and that's why people are loving this new agency. Like, no, I'm going to go fuck with them.
Interesting.
I'm going to go fuck with them.
Right.
So billable hours and then a retainer like a lawyer. They're going to change the game completely. They've changed it because, honestly, what did Patrick Mahomes' agent do to deserve? Let's say you got $50 million. Agents typically get what, like between 3.5% and 5%. So you're looking at $25 million that he did just to sit back and be like, "Boy, you see that kid's arm? We're getting rich."
Mm-hmm.
You know, so like that's why you see, you know, Richard Sherman and a bunch of other intelligent players who have business degrees negotiating their own contracts, because those agent fees, you're talking about $100 million deal. Those agent fees, that's not net, that's gross. You got to pay them right out the front, and then you have to pay taxes.
Mm-hmm.
You know, so this new agency, the way that they're doing it, they're going to change the game completely.
Agreed.
And
Agreed.
It's kind of time for that. It needs to change.
Plus, you really, it's about getting the player the best deal, not getting you the best deal. So.
And that's how they're approaching it. It's literally like a law firm. Like, yo, you pay us, and then you go see what we do for everybody else. Mm-hmm. You know, it's not like, yo, I'm not going to put any time or effort into this contract because it's only a 3-year deal worth $8.6 million. I want to have an intern deal with this. I got to go worry about this $100 million deal because I'm trying to get a yacht. You know, there's none of that going on. And I'm all for it. I'm not mad at the agents. They didn't create the system.
No, I mean, they worked it how they worked it. I ain't mad at that. Get your money. But, I mean, I do like this way better.
Yeah, the days of Ari Gold are over. There's none of that going on anymore. So there's going to be the domino effect with these quarterback contracts, but it's also going to push up other people's contracts. You look at it, left tackles are going to get paid broke off again. Centers become more important.
I mean, if I'm a right tackle, I'm going everywhere Tua goes. Everywhere. I'm following you.
All that.
Yeah.
All that. So the other big deal it kind of went through a little, but it's like got to finalize is J.J. Watt. Me and Roger were texting about that. I'm still kind of iffy on why the fuck I know the guaranteed money works, but there's rumors that Kyler Murray in like 2 years is going to leave the NFL and go play professional baseball. Dude, those baseball contracts, I don't care what position you play in football, they are not like baseball contracts.
No, they're the best.
I mean, Fernando Tatis Jr. just signed a $400 million deal, dude.
I know.
10 years.
Bobby Bonilla is still getting paid by the Mets. I still think that's one of the greatest contracts ever.
Well, I found out that Bobby deal, that a bunch of players did that. because it mitigates the salary cap hit for that year and whatnot. You can really spread it out, but still, dude, that was he's like 50 years old and still getting like $2 million a year.
Bat for the Mets since
the 80s.
Like in almost 20 years, though. Before, like in almost 20 years.
I think it's actually been more than that, dude. I think he was done in the 90s. I think he was over with. Because Bobby Bonilla was my favorite player growing up outside of Pittsburgh. So he was in Pittsburgh in the 80s.
You had Andy Van Slyke, Bobby Bonilla,
and Barry Bonds, who weighed about $140 back then.
Yeah.
Still hitting 40 home runs and winning Gold Gloves, though. So, that's neither here nor there.
By the time he retired, his head weighed $140.
Oh, dude. What? Yeah, so
make the Hall of Fame without that. But.
Yeah, I know. We never talk about baseball in here, but so the rumor was that they were sitting they were having like a bunch of power players having a dinner together, and that Barry Bonds got pissed off that all these young kids were getting all the notoriety and hitting more home runs than him, and he literally said, "Fuck it, I don't care what I have to do." I just plunged the needle in and said, "I'm going all in." To where Ken Griffey Jr. also at that meeting was just like, "Nah, bro, I'm good."
Yep, that's why I love him. He's the best.
Everybody loves the kid, man.
He's the best.
So, JJ Watt, Dak, I have a list of the free agent things pulled up. Because, dude, the amount of players that are free agents right now because of this cap, there's Roger Harper.
And just like we were saying before, all the receivers.
Roger Harper, what up, homie? What up? Yo,
what up, homie?
It's good. So we didn't move on past the Dak talk before you popped in. So clearly you spent the first 15 minutes talking about Dak and what this impact has as a domino effect on the rest of the league, the rest of the free agents, and the future contracts that are going to come after this one.
Oh yeah, for sure.
So go ahead and
he definitely set the bar high.
So
I'm glad the Dallas Cowboys decided to finally take care of him.
Well, that was Stephen Jones. That wasn't Jerry Jones.
Stephen Jones.
We all know that.
Okay.
Jerry was out of that, which is why it got done.
Oh, okay, that makes sense.
I mean, everybody was complaining all that gruesome ankle injury. Okay, that's the first time Dak had ever missed a practice, games, anything. He's extremely durable. And then I hear rumors that the entire time he's going through rehab, he's in the team facility, still in meetings with the players, still in workouts, like involved fully at all times, and not one of those, "I'm hurt, I'll see y'all see you next year. I got my own trainers and doctors, I'll see y'all next year." Every day with the team.
Right.
So
that's what he's supposed to do as the quarterback. Quarterback is the leader of the team. So you would definitely hope to see him in the locker room, meetings, injury or not. He's going that's what he has to do. That's what he did, man. That's good. I'm glad to hear that.
Yeah, no, that's awesome that he did that. That sets the tone for the team itself, right? Mm-hmm. So
Yep.
I don't think anyone can complain in this era about an injury where a quarterback misses a year, because Tom Brady, Marcus motherfucking Pollard, destroyed Tom Brady's knee. And then look what he's done since then. He has literally only missed 4 games since then, and those were the 4 games he was suspended by Goodell.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And that's a very immobile quarterback whose knees were getting bodies thrown around him at all times. So that ankle injury meant nothing to me. I don't care. If Alex Smith can come back from what he went through and throw touchdowns in the NFL for a playoff team, Dak will be fine. He'll be fine.
Yeah, absolutely.
So speaking of Alex Smith, he got cut.
17 damn surgeries on his leg.
He almost died twice.
I know.
But the Washington cut him.
Saw that.
Well, it saw that coming because they never wanted him to step up and play so well anyway. And he even said it. They didn't want me as a backup plan to work out.
That was the worst thing to happen was for Haskins to be a fool, and then Kyle Allen to get hurt. And they had to put him in. And then when they put him in, Washington started doing well. And
yeah.
It was the worst case scenario for them, because now they knew they were going to get rid of him. So now they just look bad. And I mean, he kind of got hurt, and you saw the Heineke kid.
Well, they re-upped on Heineke.
They re-upped on Heineke. I mean, that was their out, right? Because Heineke played pretty well in that playoff game, so it gave them a little open crack to get rid of Alex and be like, well, we have
Well, it was a definitive rupture in the earth below them to get rid of Dewey Haskins after that. They're just like, we don't even know who this kid is, and he's balling. Like, get you out of here.
Yeah.
So, what the hell was I just going to say? The other thing about the Washington football, the Chocolate City Bigums.
Yeah.
So Dan Snyder is being pushed even further and further towards being forced to sell that team.
Good.
And so, and we already said it. Jeff Bezos has already thrown his hat into the, because he doesn't need an ownership group. He'll just write a check. Here's my team,
Perfect.
$1 billion.
Time on his hands.
He got time.
Yeah.
Which, him resigning from Amazon is a pretty big indicator that he's about to jump into this NFL thing real quick.
Absolutely. Because he's going to get into something else. He's just in his 50s. He's just not going to chill.
Now, I wonder, though, if he'll be a good owner. Because just because you've got a ton of money and free time doesn't mean you know anything about football and people who know about football. Does it look like Jeff Bezos is a football fan? No. So
Looks like an official.
Yeah. Yeah, so that's going to be real interesting. I mean, I know, like, as far as your staff, because your staff isn't part of your salary cap. So he can just shovel money in any coaches he wants to. What, John Gruden? I'll buy them out of that $100 million deal. Whatever. I got $57 billion last week. So it's really interesting. So, dude, the list, cause they're calling this week is officially labeled Massacre Week in the NFL because of all the people who are about to get cut. And the first wave of players have all been kickers. Which makes sense because and if you look at a lot of the players' deals, they're all backloaded now. These they get the prestige of saying I'm the highest paid kicker of all time, but the deal is so backloaded. They'll get a Dan Bailey got he got a signing bonus, and then he was averaging like $1.8 million a year for the first 2 years of his deal. And the last 2 years are $4.4 million each year. You knew they were not paying no kicker $4.5 million. It's a guaranteed you're getting cut in between. So that's the other thing you have to look at Dak's contract. He's getting $75 million in year one because of the signing bonus. So his cap hit in year one is only they're giving him, it's a $66 million deal. So that's $9 million against the cap in year one. So. And in year two, it's still only in the 20s. Years 3 and 4 are so backloaded that they basically built into this mega deal kind of a way to financially move out if it doesn't work out after 2 years. It's really just a 2-year commitment, not really a 4-year commitment. Worth up to 6 if they keep incentives and
up to 6, yeah. Right.
Up to 6 years. So they're not stupid. It's the Cowboys. Jerry knows how to make money. And with the new TV deal, he also knows that the Dallas Cowboys are trying to turn into the Yankees.
So now
he does. He's trying to get his own channel, Dallas Cowboys Network and stuff.
Now what they really need is for people. Well, Texas been open, so as soon as the season starts again, they're gonna have that stadium. They're just waiting to see how many people they can have in there, but they're gonna look to pack that thing out again.
Yeah, of course. They have to. I can't imagine. I mean, I've played on some bad basketball teams in my life, but our football teams were always dope. So I've never played in front of no crowd in football except practice. I can't imagine being an NFL player that coming out there and there not being anyone. Silence. Like.
Yeah, that would be kind of whack,
Yeah.
I mean, you guys know how much energy you get from the crowd. It's big hit, place explodes, everybody's energy's through the roof. Punt return happens for a touchdown, the stadium roof gets blown off. Like,
right.
Punt. There are certain things that happen that the crowd, and then, the home field advantage has been removed completely. There is no crowd.
Yeah.
That's how I knew Tom Brady was going to dominate this year. There's no fucking crowd. This guy can make all the adjustments at the line in silence.
And it takes away Seattle's advantage of the 12th man, which is a real advantage out there.
Massive advantage. The architects built that stadium like soccer stadiums are built to make it loud on purpose.
Yeah.
So, all right, so let's shift over to Russ. Russ is 1,000,000% not playing for Seattle this season. It's never going to happen. That relationship is completely deteriorated. It will never happen now. So the answer is
so crazy. It just seemed like it just happened instantaneously. Nobody knew this. Who knew this?
well, Russ is pretty. It seems like Russ is like, team first. I'll never hurt the team. I'll never hurt the team. So he's not going to come out and say anything until it hit that critical point where he's just like, listen, man, Sierra won't shut the fuck up. We got to get out of here. So the question is, now Dak is locked up in Dallas. So that option is off the table. So now where does Russ end up?
Well, I mean, Mike Mayock and Gruden are having a parade saying that Carr is their guy. But
We all know.
come on now, it's Vegas. It's Vegas, and Carr is an uber religious dude.
Yeah.
Right? Vegas, uber religious dude. And Russ, Sierra, who could just do a Vegas show, get plenty of chips.
You're right. She can get a residency.
She could get a residency.
I didn't
right there.
even think
At
about
least
that.
Deion still get paid. You know what I mean? Like, it would be perfect. For
Dude,
that situation.
Britney Spears had a residency out there.
Come on, man.
Like-
Come on. And really, I almost called them Oakland. Las Vegas doesn't have a bona fide star. We root for Waller because we know his situation when he came through. We don't know what Ruggs is going to be outside of extremely fast. Unless you're a football head and unless you follow Las Vegas, you don't know who Abrams is, who's the safety out of, I believe, OSU. Yeah, they don't. And then Carr, who's just like, he just doesn't jump off the page at quarterback.
Well, see, the thing is, Russ is a superstar to us,
Right.
but he is not a marketable superstar. Where are these Russ commercials at? There's a couple.
There's a couple, but he's a package deal with Sierra.
That's the thing, and he's also out in Seattle, which makes things very difficult. It's like it's hard to tap into that market, especially for us all the way over here. Even if you're awake, they don't show none of that shit from over there. So
Right. But I mean, now you have this kid Jacobs at running back, which we know Russ needs a running game. He needs a running game. He just functions better with the running game.
well, they pulled up a stat today on the Pat McAfee show on teams that he doesn't have a 1,000-yard rusher. The Seahawks suck.
Yeah. And you have Ruggs, and we know Russ is one of the great deep ball pros we've ever seen.
Ever.
Yeah. So he loves throwing to the tight end. Baller.
Well, okay, Kerry. So I think they're $43.5 million under the cap now, because they just traded Trent Brown back to the Patriots.
Oh.
So the Patriots re-upped on Trent Brown, which Belichick did admit that there was a mistake to let him go. Which Trent Brown was the first-team All-Pro left tackle, and you let him go after 1 year. Well, they did the Patriots thing. They let him go get that huge deal in Oakland. They get him back 1 year later at a discounted price because Oakland's paying half of his fucking salary and shit. And they had to give up a late-round swap. Nothing. Okay. Typical hoodie. Fucking typical hoodie.
Well, now, what would make Vegas then give him up?
Okay, so this is where I was going with this. They also released Richie Incognito and their other guard. So you have 2 guards and 3 out of their 5 starting linemen gone from last season. So I think they're just revamping the whole offensive line. Plus,
which then says to me that, see, what that signals to me is that there's looking to be some changes, like changes to the offense.
Yeah.
We know that Carr, he can move around in the pocket, but he's not, like, for instance, we saw the difference in the team when Mariota stepped in.
Yeah, 100%.
And it looked way different. And it was like, oh shit. They were converting third downs. I mean, Carr did have a good third down conversion percentage, but you felt like they were going to convert every third down with Mariota in there, if it by arm or legs. And that's where this league is at now.
Well, Mike Mayock had built one of the top 3 offensive lines in football in Vegas. That's why it's so shocking for them to just jet 60% of their starting line. Like, nope, out of here.
Yeah.
Really interesting. Plus, if you're Russ, your main complaint is you've been hit more than any quarterback in the league.
Mm-hmm.
So, do you really want to go somewhere else where they just revamp their whole offensive line? But I think at this point we're getting to the I'll go anywhere. So, there's two other options that are
They've been stumping Saints.
The Saints are, and the Saints don't know if Drew Brees is going to come back or. Just hang it up, Drew. Just hang it up.
Hostage like Brett Favre used to do.
Yeah, don't do that to the team that you supposedly love. We all saw your arm from week 2 on. It was linguini. So, dude, Roger Harper, we talked about it. If I'm a corner playing the Saints, I'm sitting at 7 yards and just waiting for him to throw outs and ins. He can't throw it past 15 yards.
Hey, I'm doing the same with Ben.
Yeah, same thing with Big
Ben. Yeah.
Same thing that happened with Big Ben at the end of the year.
Overthrows all day.
Yeah, we'll see. Like you said, Roger, Big Ben ended up restructuring his deal because his was a backloaded deal. He was supposed to get $40 million this year, and Pittsburgh doesn't have any other options, so they kind of need him to come back.
Yeah,
but I'm surprised he's coming back because his arm looks shot at the end of the year too.
Yeah,
and it's just like I get arm fatigue. Especially with Pittsburgh because they didn't run the ball. So Ben's chucking it a whole 50, 60 attempts a game. But Tom Brady's arm never fell off. This guy, he's still 43 years, it's still firing darts. Peyton Manning his arm died. His arm was just hanging there his last season.
Oh, yeah.
You know,
But also, I mean, we're talking TB12, there's certain guys whose work ethic is legendary. Kobe's work ethic. People thought they worked hard, then they worked out with Kobe, realized that they weren't working hard. Jerry Rice.
I was about to say Jerry Rice running those hills.
Peyton.
Yep.
You know what I mean? Like, people thought they worked hard, and then they went to work out with these guys and realized that was just warm up what they were doing.
Well, that happened to me in college. You know, I was just always faster than everybody in high school. Get to college, every team had one. The workout warrior, the guy who never fucking left the weight room, was stronger than everybody but couldn't play football for shit. Yeah, we all had one of those.
Or the ones with the unstoppable motor. All doing stations, and we're all dying. There's one.
That was me.
You want to go full speed.
Full speed. Next station.
That was me in college because that was my only advantage over everyone is I can outrun every single one of you. Let's do this. But okay, so the Raiders. So you're looking at the Saints. Drew Brees has to let it go. Let it go, Drew. Let it go.
Oh man, I love Drew, but come on, man.
It's time to. Yeah, you're actually hurting the team at this point. So the other team, Chicago.
Yes, which is one on his list.
On his list because Sierra loves Chicago. He literally said that's why they're on there. They have a pretty solid offensive line, and my wife loves it there. I was just like, when he said that, I was just like, well, we know who's calling the shots right now.
She could do. There's theater out there. There's a scene. There's a scene.
It's
not as some other spots, but it's still.
I mean, it's not New York, L.A., but it's Chicago. So as far as media goes, now Atlanta's overtaking it.
Yeah, but Atlanta is growing even larger. But yeah, Atlanta and Chicago were kind of like on that same level, but now Atlanta's blowing up.
So I heard today in doing research for this show that the Bears have openly stated that they are willing to put Khalil Mack into a package. And I told you last week it was going to happen.
I know.
Because that quarterback is more important than a defensive end. I don't care.
Well, I think this also. You got to convince people to go to Chicago, where it is brick.
Cold.
It is brick. So, he like, why am I going there again? Who you got? You would figure that Mac would be a piece to help get them there, but, I mean...
If you're on defense.
Yeah, if you're on defense. But I get it, though. I mean, I do get it. It's not a destination.
No, it's not. But what I'm guessing, if they're willing to do that, then Khalil Mack's got to be near the end of his deal. He's probably only got 2 years left. So instead of them re-upping with him and trying to give him another huge deal, which he is going to command again, they can just use that and his salary, dump the salary, and use that as a piece instead of another number one.
Sure.
And they'll just take
you also got Akeem Nicks, who had a great year. I mean, so you have solid D tackles. So you figure if you slide a guy in on the end, even if he's younger, and less experienced, that he'll still be able to get some opportunities. And you got young linebackers, Roquan Smith,
Yeah.
fast.
He played great this
Yeah,
year.
he played great. You still got Eddie Jackson at safety. I mean, your defensive backfield is not that bad. So,
I mean, yeah, I could see that happening. Will it happen? I don't know. So the more interesting question is and just popped into my head. If Dak just got that much money, how much money is Deshaun Watson about to get? Because I'm taking Deshaun Watson 99 times out of 100 over Dak. It's just you see the play on the field. I don't care about the leadership. The play on the field itself. Yeah, you want that guy.
Yeah.
There are certain guys who don't have to speak a word, but you still want to follow them.
He's one of them.
Yeah, it's just straight actions.
Well, look what J.J. Watt said to him as he's walking off of the field. I'm sorry I wasted one of your years. That's how much they respect that
My
guy.
whole point. Exactly.
And you never hear Deshaun talk. He's not out like, even this whole time through all this, you don't hear him saying shit. His agents aren't even talking. None of that. He's very quiet.
What did he do? He took all that text and shit off his social media. So I'm saying he doesn't do it with words. He does it with actions. So they're gonna keep playing with him. They're not gonna trade him. He's not gonna play, and that's going to look worse for you, Houston. I'm trying to tell you, it's going to be worse because now free agents are going to be. If they do that to Deshaun Watson,
What are they going to do to me?
please.
Yeah.
I'm good.
Well, so
J.J. Watt left. You have your other. There's four guys in that organization since its inception that you would call legends, right?
yeah,
Andre Johnson,
Yes.
J.J. Watt. Watson is going that way, and Nuke, right?
yeah,
All of them are saying "fuck Houston."
yeah.
Every last one of them. Every last one of them. Andre Johnson told Watson, "Yeah, be out." Come on. Every player that was your best player in that organization says leave.
Another notoriously quiet player who spoke up. That's how bad it was. Like, yo, you got to get out of there, man. When have you ever heard anybody say, yo, get out of H-Town? Everybody always wants to go to H-Town. What the hell happened there?
That is the shit. Let me tell you. H-Town is popping, baby.
The football team ain't.
I know. None of the sports teams. Everybody's bouncing.
Yeah, that is incredible. The sports in that city just died all of a sudden. Cheating scandal with the Astros. Harden and Westbrook are like, yo, we're out of here. Tear this thing down. If you get J.J. Watt to leave town, then you have done something spectacular. That guy was Houston.
Him and James Harden, they were Houston.
James Harden was so much embedded into Houston, they already retired his goddamn number in Houston, dude.
Right.
He's still playing
Exactly.
for another team.
That's what I'm saying.
I think they're doing shit like that to try to be like, oh, we're not that bad. See, we love our guys.
Yeah, well, because he just said, look, I gave you my best years.
Yes, literally the 10 best years I had, they were yours.
And y'all couldn't pair me up with anybody to really get me over the hump. I mean, but he may end up being one of those players like Ewing or Barkley, like guys who were Malone and Stockton. Amazing players, but for one reason or another, you got caught in certain eras. Ewing got caught in that Jordan era.
All of them got caught in Mike's era.
In that Dub Nation era. You know what I mean? It's either Bron or Dub Nation. Other than that, you're not winning.
I mean, it's like every quarterback who got caught up in the Tom Brady era. If you didn't play for Pittsburgh or New England, you probably weren't going to a Super Bowl out of the AFC for 20 fucking seasons. Like,
I'm mad at you. I'm mad at you. I'm mad at you. You love it that you made the league. You like, yeah, when I made the league, this is what I had to deal with.
Yeah, like, well, you played for, yeah, dude, I played 17 years. Yeah, Tom Brady, all of Tom Brady's years. So, never even made it to the Super Bowl. Didn't even happen.
Then the year he retires, then your team wins. You just retired. He retires. Then your team wins.
Oh my God, so awesome! I love every second of it. All right, so let's run through some free agent things that have happened. I have the whole list up. I'll only go with players that are of note because there's a ton of them. As predicted, Bucks franchise tag Chris Godwin. We knew that was going to happen. Financially, it just made so much sense. It's like $13.4 million. That's so cheap for a franchise tag. It's usually a franchise tag used on a D end or a corner or somebody that's really expensive that you don't want to give a mega deal.
Or a quarterback.
Or a quarterback. Lately, D linemen have been getting those left and right.
Marcus Mays.
Marcus May, we called that one.
Yeah, we called that one.
Yep.
So Kyle Long came out of retirement today.
Did he?
And the Bears have released him, so he's a free agent. So guess where he's headed? Oakland, who just dumped 3 of their linemen, and his dad did play there. He has family lineage.
Yes, he does.
He just pulled a Gronk. He said he's in the best shape of his whole life. He loves football. He misses it. He's like, I'm 315 pounds. I'm lean. I can move. I feel healthy. My joints don't hurt. I'm ready. And I just think it's the Bears literally was just like, all right, you can unretire, and they released him immediately. They didn't even consider keeping him on the team.
I'll be honest. I feel like we're going to see this more often.
Yeah.
Guys just going to take, a gap year or two just to heal up, come back. Look, if they're looking at Brady, seeing that he played until he's, I don't know, we don't know, undetermined yet, but he's in his 40s now. And, I would take a gap year if I felt like in my hips and my knees. I mean, there's times I've woken up and my hips are destroyed.
Shit, I need to take a gap year right now, and I'm not even playing football, homie.
Yeah, I know that's right.
I'll take a gap year right now. But I think we're gonna start seeing this. Especially we're talking about Kyle Long made money.
Yeah, 17 games now too. You're an added game. More of the actual wear and tear, not the preseason bullshit. This is another game, another week of practice, another week of preparation.
So we'll see. I think we'll see this out of guys who have options.
Well, you look at it. Looked how well
middling to high player in order to do that you come back, there's still interest in your services.
Yeah, so you also have to be relatively young. You're looking at like players who are 8, 9, 10 years into the league or about that seems to be when they take that like early, it seems like early retirement, and they're just like, I still got enough to come play, because everyone saw what happened with Gronk. That guy could barely walk. He took a year off, comes back slimmer. I've never seen him run so good, ever.
Mm-hmm.
Jason Witten did it.
Jason Witten, yeah.
And now he's going to retire for real now.
Yeah.
One day with Dallas, retire.
Well, you look at the amount of players who have had to take a year off because of injury. So the whole taking a year off, what do they always say whenever they come back? Well, they didn't have a 16 games on their legs.
Exactly.
So you're all right with the addition of the 17th game and the success of current players doing that and setting the example. It's going to happen more, and it should. It's fucking gladiators. It's the hardest, physically the hardest sport to play. So,
it is.
And it makes sense for the teams because now you don't have to pay them whenever they retire. So they're not like sitting out injury, and they're not like there's no drain on your system whatsoever, even $1 at all. So yeah, it makes total sense. But
plus, it's like a good mental check-in with the players. You know what I mean? Like, how do I feel? I think more players are more cognizant of that these days. Look at Chris Borland. Remember, we thought he was the next grade 49er linebacker. And he retired. Then he retired.
Dude, Roger Harper, man. Me and Carrie used to sit in the studio in New Jersey and talk about Borland because it was like Patrick Willis and then who was the other? Navarro Bowman. And then when Bowman got hurt for the year and Patrick Willis retired, we were like, well, what are they going to do now? And then all of a sudden this kid just steps in and just starts balling.
Yeah, I remember that.
We were just like, who is this guy? And then 1 year, I'm done. I don't want to do this. So you're looking at possibly somebody like him maybe coming back.
He was saying he was getting headaches and things like that. And he was like, you know what? I have other interests. I'm 22 years old now. ready to set the football world on fire, but he was like, nah, I want to be able to do X, Y, Z. But what if he felt like he set himself up in some other ways so that he has something else going along with football? He could. I mean, it could, to just test the waters. He would be what, 27 maybe, if that old, 26, 27. I'd kick the tires on that. See what he got.
It'll be cheap. You're not gonna have to pay him a lot. He was still in his rookie deal. He only played 1 year.
Yep. So
he literally will be maybe $1.5 million, $2 million against your cat. So why not? That's not. Who cares? Who cares? So your G-men, they tagged Leonard Williams. Yeah, we knew that.
yeah.
Some of them were so easy. They just make so much sense, And
They're gonna cut Wayne Gallman.
Yeah.
Which he's gonna get snapped up
instantly because he won me some money through the second half of the year on fantasy.
Yeah. He's definitely going to get snapped up, and I don't know. If he showed the most promise out of all the running backs, I thought they should have went to him immediately before they went and signed Devontae Freeman. I was like, you have Wayne Gallman right there.
Yeah, I didn't know they were considering that, and I think that's really dumb on their part. So I'm looking. The Giants also named 5 new coaches today.
Oh.
So, Pat Flaherty, I believe that's the guy from Northwestern that used to coach at Northwestern.
I thought he was never going to leave Northwestern.
So he's we're the older guy.
Oh yeah, I'm thinking about Fitzgerald.
Yeah, this guy used to play. He was a linebacker. I remember his face.
Oh, I know who you're talking about.
Yeah, he was a linebacker, white dude, brown hair.
Yep.
Coach's son, first one in, last one out. Sneaky, athletic, one of those guys.
He's gonna make a great coach one day.
Yeah, going to be a great coach. You guys hired him as a consultant. Robert Sale is your new offensive line coach. I don't know who that is. This is the interesting one. Freddie Kitchens is your senior offensive assistant coach now.
Why?
I don't know. That's why this is why I'm only talking about the coaches, because I want to see your face when I said that. Senior offensive assistant. This guy, Freddie Kitchens. He was terrible in Cleveland.
So now you have him and Jason together.
Who's been calling the shots in New York over the last 2 seasons? Because they're not doing a very good job.
Jason Garrett.
No, not the GM. Who's the GM right now?
Oh, the GM? His name slips my mind right
Exactly.
Ghetto Stoops.
Oh, yeah. What an idiot.
I can't.
Yeah, Freddie Kitchens. I when I saw that, I was just like, that's the same Freddie Kitchens? Is there more than one? And there isn't. So the Saints placed the franchise tag on Marcus Williams, safety.
Yep. Makes sense.
Vikings, I just told you, released Dan Bailey, their kicker.
He also sucked.
Yeah. Yes.
He was like historically bad this past season. What's up with Harrison?
I don't know. I don't know what they're going to do with him because the free agency really just opened up. In the pending list of free agents, a lot of them are restricted. So the teams are still waiting on the final number of the cap before they start making free agent contracts. So they actually extended the free agent signing period because of that.
He's an interesting piece.
Yeah, no, we talked about that last week. What could happen if they move him? Let's see. The Lions signed Tyrell Williams from Oakland.
Well, is he going to stay healthy?
Well, that also lets you know that they have also said they're not going to franchise Kenny Galladay. So Kenny Galladay is officially a free agent.
Yeah.
And that's a big-time wide receiver.
Yep.
It would be interesting to see if he follows Stafford and ends up down in. He follows Stafford because they did not franchise Robert Woods. So Robert Woods is now on the open market.
Interesting.
See, that's why they call it Massacre Week, because it's about to go down in the NFL. You go, Roger Harper. I know, because when you played, trades in the NFL didn't happen like this. It was you only made moves in the off season. There's trades in the mid season now. There's players are you're just trading quarterbacks now. We'll take this quarterback, you take ours. Like that shit never happened.
It was still fresh. You got to remember, it was Reggie.
Reggie White was the first big free agent.
Yeah,
Mhm.
so that was early '90s.
Yeah,
you know what I mean. So they were still trying to figure this whole thing out. Now they're in full swing.
It's like basketball now.
Marvin Jones.
Exactly. I was going to say that basketball is like that's what NFL is headed to, with guys being in control of their own destiny. You know, guys can pick and choose for where they really want to go and what teams they want to be with. You know.
Yeah, no, but Kerry, you're right. Marvin Jones is still there. So
Yeah.
we'll see how long, because they Lions have also stated they are open to drafting a quarterback. That Jared Goff is, they know that that's not necessarily the answer. They took the Jared Goff trade so that they could facilitate the 3 number ones that they got for it. And they can dump Jared Goff's contract in 2 years, I believe. So they're basically taking a contract hit, and they know they're rebuilding. They brought in a whole new coaching staff and everything. So
I mean, looking at it like that, they could also let Marvin Jones walk or see what they can get.
yeah, I mean, the only building block they have right now is T.J. Hawkinson, because that dude's a stud.
I mean, and then you have your running backs, because you got Swift.
Yeah,
You still have the other running back out of Auburn who played well as a rookie.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But Swift when he's healthy is really effective. So,
Swift is that dude, yeah.
So Roger Harper, while Zoom is telling me with the 5-minute countdown, I don't know if you saw this, but me and Kerry were talking about it. It's talking about how the league is changing. So J.J. Watt's agent is a female, and she's killing it right now, killing the game right now. This is how their agency structures their deals, though. It's a retainer fee, and then they bill you hourly. It's not a percentage of your contract. Every football player is going to go sign with them.
Oh yeah, for sure. You're talking about saving some money.
Well, I mean, they're treating it like a law firm.
Exactly.
And
that makes sense.
It's genius. It's genius, because realistically, how much work does your agent do for you once they've got that deal signed? You're not going to hear from them again unless there's endorsement deals coming down the pipeline.
Yep. That's some new shit right there. I'm happy to hear that.
That's awesome.
It ain't no Jerry Maguire situation.
There is no Jerry Maguire where Jerry's going to run with a player who's seeking a deal who's not really a star. Like, imagine all the non-star players whose agents are taking up to 10% of their deal, and they're only getting a couple mil, and then that's like Roger Harper. We know that's before taxes. You pay that agent 10% of your gross, not the net. So huge chunks. Look at Patrick Mahomes' deal. Even we and Kerry figured it out. Even if it was only 5%, that's $25 million that the agent got to have once that ink dried.
Wow.
On one day.
Yeah.
It probably worked. The Chiefs were going to give up whatever for Patrick Mahomes. That agent actually worked like 2 days on that shit. $25 million. Bang, give me that. So, yeah, no, this girl and her agency, they're going to change sports, not just football. And it makes so much sense. It makes so much sense. And even especially as these salaries are going up, could you really justify an agent taking a $40 million pay cut or a piece of your deal? Like, these deals are going to be worth like, $500 million moving forward.
Yeah.
These are $50 million checks that these agents are taking from you.
I'm just waiting for the first contract paid in Bitcoin. It's
Well,
coming.
there's a player who took half of his deal in Bitcoin, but he's not getting Bitcoin from the team. He signed a deal with a firm that takes your paychecks and automatically buys a percentage of it, takes a percentage and buys Bitcoin at whatever daily rate that is, and then deposits it into your account. So he's already doing that. So you're going to see more of that in the future too, because it only makes sense. It only makes sense. I mean, if I'm getting,
I told you, I know the bar owner.
Yeah.
In Hell's Kitchen, who's trying to sell both of his spots for Bitcoin.
I mean, anything that I sell, Bitcoin, crypto, I'll take 25% off if you pay in crypto. Because that 25%, who cares? Just give me a month and I've already eclipsed that. Because I don't care. I've been doing this for years now. Those dips are only dips in a continual upward trend that will never stop. So now, we only got a minute before I got to close this one and re-up. Now there's 18,000 ATMs that have just been installed that accept crypto, like alternate coins and whatnot. So it's just going to continue to be accepted widely.
You better be paying attention.
Wow.
You better be in this crypto wave. You must.
I mean, Roger Harper, you know him, homie. I'm on it.
Don't pick me on. I'm in.
I'm on it. I am on it. It's hilarious. So one of these coins that I used to get for free, that I stopped, whatever the program shut down, it was worth nothing for the like 2 years it's been sitting in my phone. I opened it up, that wallet, the other day just to check. It was worth $84. Hilarious. They were valueless before this year. Something happened, bam, $84. I was just like, yep, I'll sit on those for a while. So I'm going to close this one and then reopen up, and we'll talk about the rest of these free agent moves, and then we'll try to tear down a team that seems to only be able to tear down themselves. All right, let me re-up the meeting. This is how we do things, because I'm going to find an alternative to Zoom. I know there are other video conferencing apps. I need to do some research, but I'm a busy individual. And I do smoke a lot of weed. So, send that invite in. Get these guys to pop back in. Oh, there it is. So, roll the fuck up, I suppose. It is 9 o'clock. Usually it's an hour, and then we have a little break because that's what Zoom makes me do. For you few who do watch us football heads, I think it's hilarious that anybody watches us talk about sports, because I do everything with rap music, like the John Wick of rap, you know this. And to have branched off and been like, yeah, we're just going to start talking about football and hanging out, which we do anyway. I love it, but I think it's awesome that people pay attention to this. It's hilarious. Perfect. See, it's always like 1 minute on the dot. All right, so back to the free agent hustle. There we go. The Browns have released Adrian Claiborne.
Okay.
He
had a decent season.
Yeah, he did. Too much. He's commanded too much money.
Yeah, too much. Yeah, price on.
He's a D end, so you're look for him to. Somebody will pick him up. Everybody needs D ends. The Bears put the tag on Allen Robinson.
Interesting.
Yeah.
I was surprised on that one.
Yeah, me too, because we all thought he was going to be on the move.
Interesting.
So that maybe that's a play to try to lure Russ in.
Yep. Absolutely.
Yeah.
You keep him because you're thinking your quarterback situation's about to improve.
100%, because they weren't talking about keeping him at all.
Nope.
And that just happened today. So.
Yeah.
And today, I think, if I'm not mistaken, today's the last day of franchise tagging. So they waited all the way till the last to be like, fuck it, let's do it. Russ, you see what we just did? It makes sense. The Falcons released one of their starting guards, James Carpenter. I don't really know who it is, but he's a starting lineman, so it's always interesting.
You know what? Somebody rode a city bus today.
Word. The Cardinals released their kicker. The Vikings released 2 corners. That's a weird depth move. 2 corners.
They were already young.
Yeah, and they just released 2 of them. That's why I thought that was really interesting. So clearly, you know what they're going to do about to do in the draft, and then in free agency, they're going to try to go get some people.
Which then begs the question: yeah, what do you do with Harrison Smith now, or what does he want to do?
Exactly. See, we've been talking about this.
I'm like, what's the plan here? I'm playing with now 2 more rookies.
Yeah.
Come on. Yeah, that's
it.
him after this long. Yeah, I probably want to step.
Yeah, I'm looking at Kirk Cousins like, yo, dude, you're not the answer.
Mm-hmm.
I don't care how good Justin Jefferson is. You're not the answer. The Bengals released their center. The Bills signed Micah Hyde to an extension.
Good.
They also signed Andre Smith to an extension. So,
Solid.
yeah, they're doing. They know what they have there. They're keeping them together.
Mm-hmm.
The Bucks re-signed some dude at defensive end who didn't even literally got no snaps during the playoff run. So
Name.
Pat O'Connor. I find that interesting because if they re-sign him, maybe they're thinking they're not going to be able to get Shaquille Barrett back because they did just tag Chris Godwin.
Mm-hmm.
So
Right. And the way Shaq Barrett played and has been playing,
they're not going to be able to. They want to be able to keep all those offensive pieces around Tom.
but also if you're Shaq Barrett, do you still try to ride this out as long as you can? As long as Brady is there, do you ride it out? I mean, yes, he's still young. Shaq Barrett could get paid later.
That's what I'm saying. That new deal comes in a couple years.
Right.
I might try to ride this Tom Brady wave.
I'm feeling like if I'm him, I hold out for that. Now, I know injuries could happen at any time and you'd be done. I get it. But I don't know. Like, in my thinking, I want chips. So
I do too, and I also look at it. You know the way these deals are going. There's so much in guaranteed money now in these deals. Whatever 1-year deal he signs, it's going to be fully guaranteed if he stays. Fully guaranteed.
If you're smart with your chicken, you're smart with your chicken.
Well, speaking of Marshawn Lynch, the Seahawks released Carlos Dunlap. That was a 1-year rental that didn't work out.
Well, I mean, there could be a spot for Adrian Claiborne. I mean, every time a DN comes up. I mean, also if you look at it, because they do need DNs, that could be the thing that get Russ to Chicago.
Yeah, you got a couple people. Carlos Dunlap can play.
Mac on the Seahawks. I'd do it.
Yeah, why not? Khalil Mack's going to do what he does no matter where he goes. It doesn't matter. He does it all by himself, so he doesn't need.
And he was diminished. He was a half a person, and he still was wrecking shop.
You're looking at the only player in NFL history that was named first team All-Pro at 2 different positions in the same season.
Ridiculous.
What? That's everybody in the league saying, yeah, he was better than all of us.
Christian McCaffrey also did.
Well, yeah, he did, but well, you guys signed more. Kyle O'Brien as your senior personnel executive and Drew Wilson as your strength coach. You guys have gone on a wholesale swipe of your coaching staff, dude. I didn't know that was happening.
Yeah, I mean,
interesting.
Joe Judge, but he must have identified some places where he can get better. It's a wait and see.
Yeah.
Honestly, I'm only going off the last thing I saw of Freddie Kitchens. Obviously, that wasn't favorable. But again, before that, he was a good coordinator, which is what helped get him that job. And like we said, not everybody's built to be a head coach. Some people are just the coordinator is their zone. So.
See, this is why I was going to, before Zoom said we got to end the first hour, that's why Deshaun Watson in Miami makes so much sense. Because you got Brian Flores down there to be the yeller and the talker, and that's what he does.
Yeah.
And then Deshaun can just quietly lead by example, and everyone will follow him. It's perfect. It's perfect.
Yeah.
Miami needs to do whatever they possibly can to get him and let everyone else fight over Russ. Because
like we always say about Brian Flores, he's a leader of men.
Yeah.
And listen to him. They just play hard for him.
Yeah, and he did I mean, Belichick loved him. Absolutely loved him from day one. Like, no, this guy he has it. Mm-hmm. He was the D coordinator, even though he wasn't the D coordinator. Belichick was just like, no, you're going to call the shots. I get the title.
Right.
But that also could be Bill protecting people and being like, you're new. I'll take all the heat for anything that happens. I'm the D coordinator. It happens. I don't give a fuck. He doesn't give a fuck.
Right.
So, either way, it worked out for Brian Flores, but Deshaun Watson in Miami makes so much sense and makes them instantly contenders. instantly. And then those Miami and Buffalo games are going to be fucking awesome.
Mhm.
Oh yeah.
Oh, one of them's going to be in the swamp, the other one in the cold of Buffalo. Please put them at the opposite ends of the seasons, NFL schedulers.
Tom always had a hell of a time trying to win in Miami.
Two-
The Patriots would always drop one in Miami every year.
Well, so if we played Miami early in the year, fine.
Yeah.
But we always played them later in the year when it's 7.5 degrees below zero in Foxborough, and they're out there practicing outside at all times. And it's 86 degrees in South Beach, and they go down there and just get zapped. That humidity just... Kerry, there is no humidity in Boston. It does not exist.
Yeah.
I'm from West Virginia. I know what real humidity is. The clouds are eye level in the mountains. You can see them. It's fucking...
I lived in Houston a long time. It's 100% humidity. I know what humidity is.
Yeah, West Virginia typically is between 80 and 90% during the summer, blistering hot. So when I moved to Boston, when people would complain about it being hot, I was just like, are you fucking kidding me? It's like 80% humidity and 85 degrees. This is beach weather.
Exactly.
So I can imagine going down to Miami. Plus, dude, it is South Beach. It is South Beach. It's a little bit hard not to get distracted, especially when you're young.
Well, you know, he's a different dude. I put him up there with Larry Fitzgerald, a man of the world. Like Larry Fitzgerald travels all over the world.
Yeah.
So does Watson. So he has other interests. So I think.
No, I'm just talking about visiting teams coming in. It's the same. It's the same thing. So Roger Harper, when the NHL added the Vegas Knights, in their first season, the Vegas Knights had the best home. They went to the chip, and they had the best home record in hockey by a mile because teams just. I don't care what hotel you stay at. There's a casino.
Distraction like a motherfucker.
Yeah, like you could be at the Tropicana, it goes down. It does. You could be at Treasure Island, it goes down anywhere.
Dude, even just walking out of the hotel to go anywhere, you're walking through, and you're just going to want to pull one. Just one hand, one roll, one something. Come on. And it's never just one, people. Nah. So, I mean, it's funny. You would think that the Raiders would have had a better home record than this year.
You know what? If there were more people outside, they would have.
Exactly. So the year of our Roni 2020 once again pokes its ugly head out. So let's see. Those people don't matter. None of those. The Raiders released LaMarcus Joyner. So
he was hurt most of the season. That's too bad because he's still young. He's good.
Very young, and he is very talented, so he will definitely get picked up by somebody. Yeah. Let's see. Christian Jones, who cares? Dak. All right, so the big one that I left it till the end. The Titans are cutting Malcolm Butler.
Mm-hmm. Freed up $10 million with that.
10.2 on the cap.
Yep. Wow. That's what they do.
And
it's business.
All right, so Malcolm Butler, his legend precedes his actual on-field output, and that's why New England was so quick to let him go, even though he was All-Pro the next year. But come on, that's like.
Wait! Are you saying Larry Brown Jr.? Anyone?
No, because he was first team All-Pro the next season.
Yeah,
and was a Pro Bowl starter. So that's when everyone was just like, oh, he can really, really play. But the system also protected him a lot, right? And then they were so quick to dump him, like, whatever.
Yeah,
Stephon Gilmore is available, and we'll give him all the money in the world. So that was another Belichick fuck you to Malcolm Butler, because Malcolm Butler wanted a big contract because he saved you a Super Bowl and then was first-team All-Pro. He wanted to re-up for a huge deal, even though he was an undrafted free agent rookie when they picked him up. And they were just like, this is New England. We don't do that with anybody. But out of spite, they went and gave Stephon Gilmore $21 million.
No. I listen, like, even if Randy Moss asked for it and didn't get it and then got released.
Yeah.
But I'm not mad at Malcolm for putting it out there.
No.
Hey, I was undrafted. You know what I'm saying? Like, by all. by all shots,
You're looking at league minimum, so he's making like $890,000 or something for this rookie season as an undrafted free agent, and it's probably also a lot of it based on playing time. And he didn't get a whole lot of playing time his rookie year. He just saved the Super Bowl. Mm-hmm. But that next year, the Patriots defense was very good, and he ends up still fresh in everyone's minds. Oh, he had a great year. No one really tried him because he is very quick. His break on the ball is extremely quick, so he was getting a lot of picks. But look, Tennessee had 2 years, 3 years. I think they had him.
3 years.
3 years.
3 years.
3 years. So he's still young, and I just don't know where he's at mentally, though. I don't know if Belichick broke him.
I mean,
yeah, that was a lot. That was a lot what he did for the team, and to let him go like that.
Not only did you let him go, you sat him in a Super Bowl and watched us lose to a backup quarterback when we didn't punt once, and Tom Brady still has the NFL record for most yards in a game by a quarterback with no picks, and we still lost, and that guy just sat there the whole time. Bill Belichick broke this guy. He is broken because he's the corner. It's all about confidence.
Yeah.
All about confidence. You have to believe that you are God's gift to football to be successful.
He's seeing Alshon Jeffrey eating.
Oh.
He's eating. Seeing guys that he would be covering. Eating. Yeah, I know.
Chris Matthews had a monster game.
Matthews had a bunch. Yeah, I know.
And then was never heard from again in the NFL. So, like, Malcolm Butler, that was supposed to be you.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So now, that's a big piece, but he's going to want a lot of money. He's going to sit around. He's not going to get signed quick. He's going to have to sit for a while. He's going to have to wait until some team really figures out what possibly their quarterback situation is and what kind of money they have left to play with, and then also think about the draft coming up. He's going to want some money, dude.
I know he's young. He's younger than Josh Norman, but I think he should play it like Josh Norman.
Yeah.
Now Josh Norman's on a really good team, and he's one of their main contributors on defense.
It's 13 years in the league, I think, at this point. He's been playing for a long time.
Wow. Is it that many?
Yeah, it's either 11 or 13, and even I was like, wow, he's been around forever.
Yeah, wow. Yeah, so I think I would play it like that. Plus, like, we have to look at where his possible landing spots could be. If you have a team that has all this money to pay a corner, that team most likely sucks. So I'm looking at teams, maybe
Minnesota.
Yeah.
Who just dumped a bunch of their young corners, and their corners sucked anyway.
I mean, I would want to know what was going on with that quarterback situation. If Kirk Cousins is going to be handing it off to the running back, to Cook, then fine. Yeah, I'll do that. I can do that. But if you're telling me Kirk Cousins is going to be passing 40 times a game, then I'm not really with it. I don't want to go there.
Yeah, so the Jags they just put the tag on Cam Robinson, so keeping him at least for another year. They're going to draft Lawrence. They need the line. Although Lawrence just had surgery on his knee, so
Malcolm Butler could end up in Vegas. He could.
Yeah,
I could see that scenario.
Yeah, that would make sense. Patrick Peterson looking like he's going to be a cap casualty this year.
Think so?
Mm-hmm.
But see, we also talk about Pat Peterson now making that shift to safety.
Yeah, if he wants to shift to safety, he will have a lot of opportunities.
So if he does that, it may be in his best interest to move teams. I mean, him and Buda Baker, I think, would be dope at safety, but I'm trying to think who the other safety is.
I thought the other safety was like competent.
Like, really good.
Yeah,
that's what I'm saying. So I think if he ends up being a cap casualty, because at this point, I don't know how many teams are going to bring him in as corner. But if he's willing to make the switch to safety, then the teams jump up.
Oh,
Like
I would,
like him going to Miami. Oh my God, that would be amazing.
or one more time in Green Bay. Green Bay's secondary was very porous, but you do have Jair Alexander, so that'd be a really good.
What is a
Hold on.
no-brainer move?
Sam Darnold, he just popped up on the screen. The Jets are basically moving on from Sam Darnold.
Well, that's what Joe Douglas was basically saying.
Yeah, so
He didn't say it in those in that many words, but he kind of said it. You knew the writing was on the wall. We know, so we know Jets going after a quarterback, and looks like it's going to be Kyle Wilson. They're just everybody is really solid on this dude, and I'm telling you, there are going to be teams that are going to be upset that they did not pick Ohio State's quarterback. I'm telling you.
yeah.
I'm telling you that right now.
Well, we talked about that like a month or two ago about making fun of Nice and the mistake that they're going to make.
Mm-hmm.
They're going to blow the draft somehow. We called it. The only way they wouldn't blow it is if they had the number 1 pick, and they blew that shit. So we knew they're going to blow the number 2 pick. We knew it. We called it.
Sure did.
So Justin Fields is about to ball out in the NFL because kid could play and he's tough. He earned my respect. He earned my respect getting his ribs broken throwing touchdowns.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yes.
Telling you.
All right, so I'm going to just run through the list of free agents is so huge that are pending right now. I'm just going to go team by team and just give you the big ones. So Buffalo, Trent Murphy, and Josh Norman. That's about it. Everyone else is kind of like, they already released Andre Roberts, so
He'll get someplace. He's a
special teamer.
He's still a competent returner.
Yeah.
We'll bring him in as a returner.
All right, so Ryan Fitzpatrick is not going back to Miami. That's pretty.
That's not surprising.
No, so now it's like, where does he go? Because he's not retired.
No.
So where do they need a closer at?
Oh,
If you keep Derek Carr, Vegas.
I was thinking that, but then now, what happens to Mariota?
He's too much money.
Yeah, so if they move on from Mariota, then yeah, I could see that being a spot. Sure.
All right, so the Patriots, James White. That's a very, very good chess piece to have in the NFL is James White.
Really?
Yes. Any team should take this guy. He is a third down master.
That rookie running back played very well.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
And James White, he's got to be on his 4th or 5th year. They're probably just not going to get his 5th-year option. They're not going to re-sign him to a multi-year deal. This classic Patriots. You contributed. You won us rings. Get out of here. You're not Tom Brady. Get out. And even Tom ended up leaving. So they did not place the franchise tag on Joe Thuney, though. Interesting.
Who got it?
They haven't. I'm gonna have to look it up. I don't even know if they used it. I don't think they even used it. But they did not.
I wouldn't blame them if they didn't.
Yeah, they didn't put it on him. Well, I mean, starting offensive lineman.
On that team.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
So he's a free agent though, and that's a first-team All-Pro player. And then they're basically their entire defensive front is all free agents. Interesting. But with the Patriots, they have a lot of key players coming back who opted out last year, and that was huge for them. The opt-outs were
which is why I felt like that's why they didn't use the franchise tag.
Yeah, they didn't really need to. So Frank Gore's finally going to go to another team. He's a free agent. They're not going to re-sign that guy. But Brashard Perryman's now going to be a free agent, and then all those corners that we talked about, all pending free agents, and team leading tackler Neville Hewitt.
Neville Hewitt.
Jets.
Yep.
This is the most Neville has ever been talked about. I love it.
Interesting. So, all right, moving on to the North. Mark Ingram, he's out in Baltimore. Willie Snead though.
He's out too?
Yeah. Interesting. He And Ngakwe's and Derek Wolfe and Pernell McPhee and their whole defensive line, and then Matt Judon. So they got a lot of free agents they're going to have to look at they got some holes. AJ Green is a free agent. Does he move on to somewhere else?
Who's this?
AJ Green. That's one of my all-time favorite NFL receivers too.
Here's the thing. He was not fully healthy with a fully healthy Joe Burrow. But at this point in his career,
he should go somewhere with.
Does he still want to bang his head in Cincinnati? Because
dude, they don't have an indoor practice facility.
Right. They don't. Their defense isn't. If the defense was close, they're not though.
No, not even close. He should go somewhere else.
He should.
Tampa would have been a great fit if they wouldn't have signed Godwin.
Wow.
He can go ring chase with them and then fill that void. But they're keeping the band together for one more tour.
Maybe a place like Chicago.
Yeah.
If you can make Chicago happen with Russ, and then you have Allen Robinson.
Good call.
Hey, now we're talking about some stuff.
That's a good call. Let's see, the Browns. Rashard Higgins. That's a big deal because Baker loves that guy.
Well, now you have the Odell Beckham with the blonde hair's coming back, and how's he gonna fit in? And Higgins put himself in a position to get paid. They saw his value on the field and stepped in, and he was more than proficient stepping in.
1,000,000%. Third down catches, moving the chains and getting touchdowns. Baker, that was his guy. That was his guy this year. Olivia Vernon is back on the block.
Yeah.
And then, Carl Joseph, I only know about him. Well, both of their safeties. So they're going to have to re-sign one of those.
I think they re-signed Carl Joseph.
He's younger. Sendejo's this is like his third team or whatever. So Pittsburgh, Juju, that's the big one.
Yep.
That's the big one. That's another one. You get him in Chicago with Allen Robinson. Those are two. That's a good.
I know we were talking about him coming to New York, though.
Well, yeah, especially now that the Jets are quarterback shopping clearly. So they didn't want to give Sam Darnold any help, or did they learn their lesson and they're going to give the next one help? No, they're not. It's the Jets. So it's interesting.
Someone will have to surprise them, like if Denzel Mims just ends up being like playing out of his mind.
Now that Robert Woods is possibly available, I can see Juju going out to L.A.
Good call. Yeah.
Getting his social media on. You got Matthew Stafford to sling it to you. You got an impeccable defense on the opposite side, and you can do all of your social media. You can become a star.
Coming up.
Yeah. So let's see. Bud Dupree. The Steelers did not tag Bud Dupree. That's a big chip that's out there for somebody to get.
Surprising.
Yeah, I know. It was surprising.
Did they tag anybody? No. But they were so decisive in bringing Ben back.
Yeah, interesting.
I mean, unless they feel like because it was them who picked up Haskins, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
They grabbed Haskins, and you got to remember when Bud Dupree and what is the linebacker Devin Bush both got hurt. Then that white dude, some random linebacker we've never heard of, stepped in and pulled a Borland and just started balling. So I think they know they got that guy for cheap right now, and so they'll just kind of shift people over and just hope for the best.
I mean, unless the thought process is that you have been in there this year and you just let Haskins marinate under Ben and then see what you have in him next year. Because Mason Rudolph isn't he's not your solution at QB.
No, so the Texans, it's funny because they don't have basically any QB on the roster right now. Because A.J. McCarron and Josh McCown are both free agents. So they got Deshaun, who doesn't want to be there. So Duke Johnson and Will Fuller are both free agents. both young and have been productive when healthy. And Will Fuller can fly.
When healthy.
Yes.
But then he caught with the peds.
So yeah, you're missing 4 games out of him minimum.
Yep.
Um,
That could be. Listen, Fitzmagic could turn up back in H-Town again.
he don't need nobody but himself. He's pulling magic out there.
What I'm saying is, when you want to, like, he would be a nice Band-Aid for Houston.
Yeah.
To spin the story for them.
Yeah.
So it would be more of a move to help Houston out than to help him out, really. I mean, he would be starting, obviously. If I'm thinking of where could I play if I'm Fitzmagic, Houston. I know I can get on the field and play because Deshaun Watson's not going to get out there.
No. Vernon Hargraves is also a pending free agent for them, so look for somebody to go after him because he can play.
Corners.
So for the Colts, T.Y. Hilton. That's still they didn't franchise him, so he's
interesting. I kicked the tires on T.Y.
Yeah, he came on at the end of the year.
Yeah, last year was kind of like a gap year for him until the end of the year when he started getting involved. He wasn't. I didn't know he was in the league.
Yeah, no,
I thought he was hurt, and then I just saw that he wasn't getting targets. So
Xavier Rhodes is also a pending free agent. They're going to re-sign him.
They need to re-sign him. Yeah.
They and Malik Hooker also. So you're looking at those two taking up a lot of their money, especially Xavier Rhodes. And since he is a free agent and played so well, he's going to get a big deal. You're going to get a big deal. So
needed that change of scenery.
Yeah, see, it works out sometimes. Sometimes you end up in a system or around coaches. A coach might not like you. Like, that shit happens.
Sure.
So O'Shaughnessy in Jacksonville and Tyler Eifert. So they have no tight ends. Interesting. Corey Davis for the Titans.
Big free agent piece.
And Jonnu Smith. So they're gonna sign one of those. Probably Jonnu.
They're gonna bring Jonnu back. Delaney Walker's gone. They're bringing back Jonnu Smith. But Corey Davis probably walks.
Yeah, probably. And then they also have Jadeveon Clowney to re-sign. They just let Malcolm Butler go. And we remember, because we questioned why the hell the Chargers did it in the first place, I bet you they let Malcolm Butler go so they could re-sign Desmond King.
Oh, absolutely.
So that makes sense because Desmond King is one of the best kick returners in the league, so he adds more value anyway, and he's a dope corner.
Well, also they got Adoree Jackson.
Yeah.
Who's also an ill kick returner.
Yeah.
So Adoree hurt last year, so.
A.J. Bouye for the Broncos, we already talked about that.
And Justin Simmons, I think they tagged him.
Yeah, they did. Yeah. So for the Chiefs, a lot of pieces, a lot. Le'Veon Bell, Sammy Watkins, DeMarcus Robinson, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 linemen, 1, 2, 3, 4 DNs, corner and a safety. So they got a lot of people to re-sign.
As long as you tell me they got Tyrann Mathieu, you can replace everybody else on defense.
Pretty much. So Nelson Aguilar and Zay Jones are up in the air.
Aguilar's interesting. He played himself into earning another look.
100%. And then their entire offensive line, dude. All of them. They're literally re-upping at their whole line. That's incredible.
Yeah.
Boy, they got Vic Beasley's going to be out and available, but he's never really lived up to.
Never. He had 1 year in Atlanta where you thought he turned the corner, and then it was that Super Bowl year, and then he fell off the map.
All right, so a big, huge piece. The Chargers did not tag Hunter Henry.
Interesting.
Yes, so he is now free to roam, and he's going to get a big deal because tight ends that are that good or get paid.
Listen, his problem has been durability, but I'm telling you, if healthy, don't let him walk. You have that young stud at quarterback, young QBs, love their TEs. Don't do it.
So Melvin Ingram could possibly end up somewhere else. They didn't tag him. He's a free agent.
He hurt all last season.
They don't really need him.
I get it, but with him and Bosa, they are terror. They are terror.
So I think the most interesting free agent is Tyrod Taylor. So whichever team needs their quarterback to come in and start balling, somebody sign Tyrod.
So Tyrod, come on over to the G's, buddy. Pal.
Have some freak injury happen, and then all of a sudden your quarterback becomes a first-team All-Pro.
Yeah.
It's his whole career is littered with that. It's incredible. Alden Smith is he played pretty well this year.
He did a very interesting piece. Seeing an interview with him, his life is in a different space now.
Yeah, 100%.
Just focus on what he's doing, and again, he's missed a lot of football.
And still came in and played.
Still played well.
Played well for a team that had a terrible defense, so he did more than he was way more than he was expected.
Exactly. So yeah, that's.
All right, so yeah, Wayne Gallman for you guys. Actually, your entire running back room. Wayne Gallman, Dion Lewis, Devontae Freeman, and Alfred Morris, all free agents. Golden Tate, free agent. They already said they're not re-signing him. And then Jabal Sheard. Interesting. That's a Super Bowl winner who played big in big games.
He did.
Yeah.
He did.
Interesting. He might end up back in New England, though.
He could, but again, our defense needs to get faster. And they need another playmaker, and they need someone who can. They need an edge rusher.
All right, so Deshaun Jackson is out there, and I don't care how old he is. That dude can fly.
Ooh.
Fly. Still one of the fastest players in the league.
He is.
So if you see Henry Ruggs having success and Nelson Aguilar having success, you know Deshaun Jackson can still get past corners.
Yes.
So he's definitely going to be picked up by somebody. Green Bay, should give that guy a call. Or wherever Russ goes with the deep ball.
Yes. You know, I would.
Green Bay doesn't have a burner. They could have used him.
They don't. I was thinking about that, but if my only issue, if I'm a receiver going to Green Bay, my thought is, will you see anything other than Adams?
No, but he has to understand at 32, transitioning to 33 years old, this is your role now, dude. If you're in Green Bay, you just run past everybody.
Yeah.
You're just sprinting. So you're just Tyreek Hill older. That's all it is. Just running straight lines. At least have the threat of pulling somebody over. You've got Adams getting doubled at all times. So then you would look at Robert Tonyan to have a monstrous year, just eating up the middle by himself. So, yeah, he's out there. Interesting to see where he'll go, because he'll definitely get picked up. He's too fast. Alex Smith, we already talked about. He should just retire. Don't play football anymore, dude. Ryan Kerrigan is finally a free agent. He's finally going to play for somebody else besides the Washington Football Club. That would be interesting because they saw what Chase Young just did. They're like, we kind of don't need you.
I could see him going to some place like either Vegas or the Titans.
Yeah.
He would be a good fit in either one of those.
He'd also be a good player that taking a year off might extend his career for a while.
Yeah. Yeah. I can see that.
Yeah, Trubisky, whatever. They don't want him. Everybody else, who cares? Adrian Peterson, he's openly campaigning to bring me to Tampa. He wants a ring. Kenny Galladay's the big one, and you are right. Marvin Jones is also a free agent, so they're going to end up signing him because they didn't tag Galladay, and they've already been talking to Marvin Jones, which is interesting because Galladay's younger. And he had a better year.
Well, maybe they think they can get Jones at a discounted rate.
They are.
Whereas you have to pay Galladay.
They're already saying that we're rebuilding for the next few years.
Yeah. So
they gave Motor City Dan Campbell a 6-year deal. They know. They know it's going to take a while. Aaron Jones in Green Bay, did he diminish his value with those playoff performances? Because he played great during the year, especially when people were hurt. He played incredible.
Right. I'm going to say no. But they also have now seen the value of the two other running backs.
Yes. That dude with those thighs.
Dillon.
Yeah, Dylan, when he came in, yeah, they were just like,
And
well,
like he's still a rookie. He had a couple mistakes, couple fumbles, so they want to clean that up. But the backup, his name escapes me right now. He really balled out. He took. You talk about someone taking advantage of your snaps. He
Yeah.
took advantage of every single snap he was out there.
yeah. So Kyle Rudolph, we already talked about in Minnesota, but yeah, Anthony Harris is just floating out there. Are they gonna? What are they gonna do with this guy? Because that's see, they're keeping Harrison, and now they're letting Harris go. They're still focused on Harrison so much. Look, that's how much his leadership has to be. They have kept this guy through
Everyone.
everybody through the whole coaching regime changes, defensive schemes, offensive schemes, everything. So he should go somewhere else. We won't talk about Atlanta because we're going to spend the third hour talking about them anyway. Curtis Samuel for the Panthers.
Big one.
Big piece of the puzzle. Kawan Short, they already are not signing. They already know they're letting him go. So that's a big D tackle that's out there.
Well, because they got Derek Brown now. He's there. He's a monster.
Yeah, so Jameis Winston, they're signing him unless they get Russ, or they're not going to get Deshaun. He doesn't want to go there. Let's see, DJ Swearinger. There's another player that did not live up to his draft status, so a change of scenery might do well for that one.
Well, he was a headhunter.
Yeah,
he liked to knock domes. He's getting fined.
Yeah, that the Bucks have so many people, dude. I don't even want to name all of them. They're going to take care of it. They'll figure it out. It's all about keeping the team together. And a lot of these players, except for Shaquille Barrett, are all going to come back. Like Antonio Brown and Rob Gronkowski are not playing anywhere else. Why would you?
Made the money. Like at this point, you've made the money. Now just get the rings.
Mm-hmm.
Patrick Peterson and Dre Kirkpatrick, both in Arizona, and Jonathan Joseph. Wow, their entire top three corners are up, and that's why Patrick Peterson says he doesn't know what's going to happen with him.
Yeah.
Let's see. Nobody of importance for them. Jordan Reed in San Francisco, so somebody will pick him up and Richard Sherman, I already talked about him. He's going to end up going somewhere else anyway.
Yeah.
Seattle, their whole team. Dude, it's like 20-some players. I don't even want to go through the list. It's everyone.
Yeah.
All right, so this is perfect timing. That's why I rushed through that one. I'm going to re-up, and then when we get back in 1 minute, we are going to tear apart what I think was the worst team in the NFL last year by on-field product. So I'll see you guys in a minute. All right, let's re-up so we can talk about how terrible the Atlanta Falcons are. Subsequently, Roger Harper's old team. So, it's not like we hate the Atlanta Falcons. They just fucking suck. Let me get these guys in here. Bam. Smoke the rest of this blunt. All right, now we can get rid of the free agent tabs. Done with that half. And talk about these terrible, terrible Atlanta Falcons. Well, Emmanuel, I don't think that the Bucs are going to be able to re-sign him because that guy is going to cost way too much money. And their offense, facilitating Tom, seems to be of more importance at this moment anyway. Vegas, he did the drive by. This one when he was, I think it might have been, I think it's when he was playing for Florida. It's just he was back in Connecticut for like spring break or something. I don't think he was a professional yet. It might have been his rookie year though, 'cause I know it was in Boston. I remember that much. But yeah, he totally like pulled a drive-by on some people because they like spilled a drink on his shoes or something retarded like that. Something absolutely insane. Pulling drive-bys and whatnot, and then going to practice it. All right, so now that everybody is back, Roger Harper, we're not going to be shitting on the Atlanta Falcons as your representation, but speaking merely on last year's on-field performance, trash. It was between them and the Chargers on who could blow the most games this year. And me and Carrie were talking about it all year long. It's just, I can't believe, just bet on it that they're going to blow it somehow. It was incredible. Mm-hmm. They found ways to lose that I've never even seen happen before.
Exactly. Remind you of the Super Bowl this season.
Yeah.
Win 80-up games, and then next thing you know, they give it up, lose, over.
It was incredible. It's like they never recovered from that Super Bowl.
Raj, they were blowing teams out.
Yeah.
I know.
Blowing teams out. Only to come back and lose.
Every game, every time.
It was like it was a setup.
Double-digit leads they blew like 7 weeks in a row was incredible. Something that's never happened before.
Yeah.
So the
secondary wasn't that great, I didn't think.
No, not at all. So the big question with these guys, and they have openly discussed about the availability of Matt Ryan and Julio Jones.
Interesting.
Which means time to start over. We have Calvin Ridley. Let's start this and build from here.
Also, Julio, he's been just the past 2-3 seasons just.
Yeah, it's crazy. He hasn't caught a touchdown in the red zone in years.
Yeah.
So, that team has been. They broke them, dude. The Super Bowl broke that team. It broke them. Look at Matt Ryan and Julio since then.
Yeah.
Dan Quinn lost his job.
Yeah.
Julio's
been rarely out there. I think Julio could use a change of scenery.
Maybe
Miami would be ill for Julio. They need just a stud at receiver. I mean, they got a couple guys that you're like, have they turned the corner yet? But
nobody like Julio though.
Nobody like Julio.
It'll be interesting to see what his health is like moving forward, because that's another player who could be like, you know what, he would have been good to have opted out this past season.
Yeah, for sure.
And just sat it out.
Watch this man have 300 yards receiving in an adult NFL professional league.
And it wasn't like when Calvin Johnson did that. It was just out jumping 4 players at once in the end zone. Julio was open by a mile every route in that game. I remember that game.
I joked because one of my boys is a Falcons fan, and I joked. I was like, "Hey, Julio's gonna go for 300." I was like, "Man, Julio's about to go for 300," and then he caught another long one, and it was like, "Oh shit, no, Julio's about to go for 300."
This might actually hit 300 receiving. Wow!
Oh no, this is for real. So now we're rooting for Julio to get 300. Incredible.
So yeah, it's going to be real interesting to see what they do quarterback wise, because I don't see a lot of interest in Matt Ryan, but San Francisco has openly said that Jimmy G, they're done with that, and it's not going to hit their cap. So I can see Matt Ryan going up there, and then Jimmy G going over to New England, and then I could see things like that happen. But the interesting thing would be Julio, because that's such a huge piece.
Where is Atlanta picking?
3rd. That's why we're talking about them.
3rd. That's right. Okay. So,
didn't Julio just sign a big contract?
Yes, but they have openly said that they are willing to, if they get a good enough return, to move on from Julio.
So at the 3 spot, 1 and 2 quarterbacks for sure.
Yeah, their backup quarterback just retired, Matt Schwab, so they got to get somebody in there.
Oh yeah, see, look at that.
I wonder if they don't go in a different direction than quarterback, because
if you keep Matt Ryan, yeah,
I can see a scenario where they just keep Matt Ryan and they know they have a lot of shit to build on. So.
Or if we're building, Ryan Fitzpatrick.
Could be, yeah.
For a year.
That's one of the very few teams he hasn't played for.
Exactly. So. That's why I said that. I was thinking of all the jerseys. I was like, there's no Atlanta jersey. He needs to put that one up there.
Hey, why not? And so you have that going, and then you get a. I mean, what don't they need? They need another running back. Um, tight. Oh well, I mean, what
Well,
the?
here I'll look. I'm going to look up their depth chart right now. So Todd Gurley, it's a
They got Hayden Hurst at tight end, right?
yes.
I think he should do better this next year. So they should be straight at tight end.
They
But
have a really good offensive line actually.
yeah. So
Um,
we're
they
looking at
have
defense and running back.
they have Jake Matthews, Alex Mack, who is one of the best centers in football, and Chris Lindstrom at right guard. So they do have a pretty good offensive line.
Yes.
Receivers, Calvin Ridley and Russell Gage. Russell Gage played big last year.
He did. And there's another receiver too. I think African dude.
Treadwell.
Treadwell came. He revived his career out of.
He came late, but then there's another dude though. I think he has like an African sound. name.
Alameda Zacchaeus.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yes. I think he went to Florida. Yes. He's the dude to really watch out of that. He's like, in terms of, he might actually, if they do move Julio, he would go to the outside. It would be him and Ridley.
Well,
and
maybe
then-
that's why they're so willing to move on from Julio and his big mega deal.
Because of the ways that he has stepped up.
Well, him and the way Russell Gage popped up out of nowhere.
Exactly.
So Russell Gage is getting touchdown catches. Julio Jones hasn't caught a touchdown in 3 seasons for some fucking reason. And then you got the stud himself, Calvin Ridley, who is uncoverable. So doesn't matter. You don't need a big guy. No one can cover him.
His brother is in Chicago. They got a gem. They have a hidden gem in Chicago. He needs to get more snaps out there for sure. But they need a better quarterback play. So
All right, so I guess the big question about Atlanta is their inability to hold leads. So that's a coaching staff
absolutely.
and defense. So they do have Grady Jarrett.
Also, no clear leader. There's no leader on that team.
No, so you have Grady Jarrett and Dante Fowler Jr. Deion Jones is still there. Keanu Neal is still there.
Yeah.
And then, they have Darquez Denard.
Oh yeah.
See, we forgot about this guy. I think he was hurt a lot last year.
He was hurt. Yeah.
But they also have their free safety. I don't know how. Is it Kazee?
Oh yeah.
He showed.
K-Z-E-E.
He showed up last year.
Yeah.
And then their other corner. See, it's weird because they AJ Terrell. So it's like, why didn't?
Good.
Yeah, that's why did they play so poor? It's the coaching staff then. It's got to be the coaching staff.
Also, they definitely need Atlanta for the longest time has needed an edge rusher.
Yeah.
Feel like they haven't been able to get after the quarterback in that
Well,
game.
they went and signed Dante Fowler Jr. because he played well in a playoff run for us to help us get a Super Bowl, and then that's why we didn't re-sign him because he wasn't
Right.
worth it.
But look at the teams he's played for, on the defenses he's played for when he was in Jacksonville. They had dominating players. They had Calais Campbell. They had Miles Jack. You had savages all over the field. So he was just taking advantage of that. But when asked to be the man, he's not that dude.
No, he is definitely not that dude.
So they definitely. If I'm Atlanta, I'm looking. If they seem to have identified this kid in Miami as a dominant pass rusher, the G's are looking at him at 11. Rousseau, I believe his name is. Man, in this league, if you can't get after the quarterback, I don't care if you're playing against the third stringer, you could lose.
But we've seen it happen.
We've seen it happen. So if I'm then, I may be looking at I'm either looking to move back for more picks, because I don't know if I would choose Rousseau because he's just not like a sure thing as rusher. He's just the first one that's being mentioned now. I think if I'm Atlanta, I move back because I need so many things. I move back, see what I can get. If we can package a trade, you
can get Fitzmagic for a year. You're right. You can also a player that I didn't even say that he probably is going to be moved. Jacoby Brissett is a pending free agent, and we all know how competent he is as a quarterback. Like, this isn't just a backup. This is He can play. He's not going to lose you. He's Alex Smith. He's not going to lose you games.
And I'm really honest with you. Yeah, they brought in Phillip Rivers, and Phillip Rivers has the reputation and all that. I can't say for certain that they wouldn't have been better served letting Jacoby rock again.
They would have, because Jacoby doesn't throw those interceptions.
Right. And also, when Indianapolis was playing at their best, it's because Phillip was doing this. Here you go. Here you go. Here you go. He was handing the rock off.
And you have to remember the year before, when Jacoby had to play,
They were in games.
they were in games without a good defense.
Absolutely.
They got the good defense this year by adding Buckner and Rhodes and a bunch of pieces
And
together.
also, those players love Jacoby.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
They love him.
I know all about his. If Bill Parcells is making calls and telling people you need this kid, there's something about him.
Yes.
You get him on your team, and then we saw it on Kerry. We saw it on the field. We saw it. It was just like, oh, this guy can really fucking play.
Yep.
You know, and it's just, I know it because we purged all of our quarterback room for Tom. We got rid of Jimmy Garoppolo and Brissett, and I was just like, well. But when Tom was suspended and then Jimmy got hurt because he played 3 snaps and got hurt, because that's what he does, Jacoby came in and went 3-1.
Sure did.
So I was just like, oh, this guy can really play.
Yep. So, I mean, I know we got to see what Carson Wentz looks like out there, but I don't know, Indy. I think you got you one just sitting on the bench.
They
already.
do, but that would be an interest. That's another like player. He could go down to Atlanta during this rebuild, and they don't have to shoot for a quarterback maybe until a year or 2 from now in the draft. They can build everything else up around it and then go the rookie deal quarterback route at that point.
Unless he balls out, and they're just like, we got our guy.
And he's going to be cheap.
Yeah.
He's going to be cheap.
And you know he's motivated. He gets you. He's not the most agile and he's not the fastest, but he gets you the necessary yards. He's a willing runner.
Very smart.
Yeah. He knows your offense. He's gonna be a great coach one day. And so,
Well, he always makes the right decision on the field.
makes the right plays. Yeah.
Yeah, so interesting. I would, if I'm a team that's not interested in any of these quarterbacks, i.e. Atlanta, I think I might go with Jacoby Brissett on a 2 to 3 year deal and just see what happens.
Sure.
It's not going to cost you anything. He's been a backup. Makes so much sense. So
yeah, I'm saying I think for Atlanta they should move back. I think they should move back. If you're not going to choose a quarterback at 3, move back.
well, especially because it seems like the top end of this draft is all offensive loaded this year. So
and you need defense.
they need defense. Roger Harper, what would you do? Put your GM hat on for your old squad.
I'll probably go defense just because they need to win. Quarterback is still position is okay, but I would go defense.
So you got to think of a team. Who do you think is willing to move up to the 3rd spot, considering those first 2 quarterbacks are going to be gone? Zach Wilson and Trevor Lawrence gone.
Yep.
So are they high enough on Justin Fields? It seems like Justin Fields is dropping off the radar.
Oh, the next QB is Trey Lance.
So maybe somebody pulls. Let's move up to get Trey Lance.
Get Trey Lance. They'll move up to get Trey Lance.
They won't for Justin Fields.
I'm telling you, it's going to be a shit move because Justin Fields is about to do work, but it's okay. So they're gonna get some. There's going to be a team that's going to want to jump for Trey Lance. They're going to use. See, in the FBS thing, it worked out for Carson Wentz, but if we really look at these FBS quarterbacks, outside of Wentz, who had early success, who else can we really say?
None of them.
Wait, Carson Wentz also won chips when he was playing, so he had plenty of tape. Lance only played one
And
game.
I don't
And they
care.
played one game this past season.
Before Carson Wentz went on the injury barrage, you saw it on the field even when he was playing in college. Just like, wow.
Exactly.
Wow.
Exactly.
Same thing with Justin Herbert. It was the same thing. You're just like,
Yeah, but I mean, Herbert was, D1 all.
yeah, that's what I'm saying. It's still odd that Carson Wentz.
quarterbacks who-
Well, he ended up there because he's from there. And nobody recruited him because he played 7-man football in high school.
Exactly.
And they don't take it serious.
Right. So who's gonna then jump out? But a lot of these GMs feel like they're the smartest dude in the room. You know what? I'm gonna roll the dice on this kid. I see something no one else sees. Maybe because it's not there that nobody else sees it. But okay, we'll see. But there is a team out there that I'm guaranteeing you they're hitting Atlanta up to see how they feel about staying in the third spot.
100%.
They have their eye on Trey Lance.
No, you're right. So if you look at the team statistics from last year, passing yards, they were 5th in the league. Clearly, without Julio. That's why they know. That's why Julio's gone. Matt Ryan's not even that good, and they were 5th in the league. So, rushing yards, though, 27th in the league. They just didn't. Todd Gurley did not give them what they thought he would, which we all knew that wasn't going to happen. His knee, it's over for him.
At this point, is a goal line back. At this point, unfortunately, it's hurtful to say that, but he's a goal line back, and they just don't have that other dude. I know this other cat was getting snaps near the end of the season, but not someone who is going to be a bell cow for them.
No, it was Ito Smith.
Ito Smith.
Yeah, somebody I'd never even heard of before.
He's fast.
Their points against, they were in the middle league, 14th. Their defense, like we said, their secondary. But also, your secondary gets a lot of pressure put on them if you don't have a pass rush, which they don't have at all. And they haven't had.
That's my whole point.
Grady Jarrett is literally the only one getting sacks for them, and that's a D tackle, so that's not supposed to. And he's not Aaron Donald.
Right. That's what I'm saying. They haven't had a guy there to be like getting them sacks, in a damn long time.
Well, they also, Kerry and Roger, they don't have that I don't think they've ever had that linebacker in the middle that just sets the tone for everything.
Jesse
Tuggle.
Look how long ago that was.
Exactly.
Oh, 13 minutes.
You know what I'm saying? It did happen.
Yeah, so Roger Harper, that's back in your era, so I don't remember like any Falcons linebacker since then.
Nope, me neither.
I mean, I remember the Super Bowl team because they were all so fast. Keanu O'Neal and the other kid, they were all so fast.
Yeah.
They're so lean though, and they just by the fourth quarter were getting thrown all over the place.
Jesse Tuggle was the last dude. You were like, you knew who the leader was, unquestionably.
Yeah.
So clearly there's a giant void in leadership on this team because I look at Matt Ryan and I just look at him and when he talks I'm just not listening. I'm just like, no.
I'm saying there's no leader. There's no leader on that team.
Well, they just got to do Arthur Smith, so new coaching staff and whatnot. So whole new regime change. So I see them moving on from Julio and Matt Ryan really soon because let's just erase that whole era of 28-3. Let's erase that. It's gone.
Oof. Yeah.
So I forgot that they just hired Arthur Smith. So who else? I don't even know who he's probably named a bunch of people that he's worked with before. Who knows what's going to go on in Atlanta? It can only go up from here. I mean, how many games can you blow double-digit leads on? It was incredible.
Listen, don't put that out there because they may try to challenge it.
I mean, we did throw it out there that the Jets were somehow going to fuck up that first-round pick.
We already knew they would, and they did.
And they did by a mile by winning 2 games. So stupid. It's funny because the Falcons started off the season 5 losses. And then they went,
and those all should have been wins.
Yeah,
Wins.
All of them. But then they went on a little run in the middle of the season where they were 1, 2, 3, like they were 4-2 in the middle of the season, and then they just lost the last 5 games by blowouts.
Which is funny because what the Falcons have done these past like 10 or plus years. They'll shit the bed early on, maybe have moderate success in the middle, maybe. But at the end of the season, hot. They're always the hottest team going into the next season. So you think, I think they got it together. They figured it out. Then they go to the next season, same shit.
Well, I mean, dude, you got to look at their losses. So week 1, 13 points. We know they were up like 13 and lost by 13. Week 2, 1 point to the Cowboys after blowing a double-digit lead. Week 3, 4 points to the Bears and Mitch Money-making Mitch after blowing a double-digit lead. And then the Packers beat them handily. Panthers, 1 score. They beat the Vikings by 17. They lost to the Lions by 1, and we remember they blew that game too. They literally blew that game.
There was no. You looked at that game. You said, "No way, Falcons blow this one." Yeah,
that was
they found
they
were 99.9% probability winning the game.
Yeah, it was incredible. Same thing with the Super Bowl, dude. They find a way. Some teams find a way to win. This team finds a way to lose. That's incredible. So then they beat the Panthers and Broncos back to back. And then they got blown out by the Saints, and they destroyed the Raiders 43-6.
They did.
And then they lost to the Saints handily. No, then they lost to the Saints by 5, the Chargers by 3, the Bucks by 4, the Chiefs by 3, and then the Bucks again by 13. Look at it, all single digits until the last game of the year when the Bucks blew them out because the Bucks were ascending at that point. So they were in all these games late, and not against bums either. Saints, Chargers, Bucks, Chiefs, and Bucks, and they were in all of those games.
That just points to a lack of fucking leadership.
Who was their coach last year?
Frustrating. It's so frustrating.
Well, it was Dan Quinn. So who was there? It was Raheem Morris was the intern coach.
They started playing hard again. So that's why, like in the middle of the season, they started getting those wins. It was the new coach effect.
Yeah, I remember that now. I remember that.
Yeah, then it just wasn't sustainable because there's no true leadership on the team. I mean, you have teams that when they hit adversity, someone steps up and say a couple words, they know how to handle it. You never feel like they're out of it. That's why with the Chiefs, you never really feel like you're out of it because you've seen them go through adversity. You've seen them come back. You expect them to come back. When they don't, it's a shock. Like, wow, they know how to handle it. Wow, seeing Kelsey drop all those balls, it was like, whoa, okay, something's different. Okay, yeah, this is off. With Atlanta, you expect them to fail. No lead is safe. Like I said, my buddy's a huge Falcons fan. He's from Long Island. I was like, how the hell did that happen? Nobody knows. But he's watched a lifetime of this, of just you're up, you're ready, but then no lead is safe because he's just seen them. I was with him during that Super Bowl, and he was the highest of the highs.
And the lowest of the lows.
And then he literally slid down the pole like, I was like, oh, man. So then I got moral support. I was like, well, but, at least you made it.
Oh, man. So the Falcons, clearly with Arthur Smith as their head coach, it's a whole new regime. So Terry Fontenot is their new GM.
Oh.
Yeah, so we'll see what he does because I believe he's been successful in his previous stints.
Yeah, there's lineage there.
Yeah, and then Dick Carter retired.
Okay.
And then they hired, the only ones that I know of, and this is interesting, is Nick Perry is now a coach.
Is he?
Yeah, Nick Perry got hired as an assistant defensive backs coach. Yeah, interesting. Okay. We'll see how he does. Safety's always transitioned to coaching, it seems like,
Yeah.
And then TJ Yates is their quarterback's coach. I love it when teams.
You know what? Good for TJ.
Yeah, I love it when teams hire positional coaches that are players who did nothing with their career ever.
Third string. Yeah. Third string. You had that one playoff game with H-Town.
Probably a smart kid, just didn't have the physical tools to compete in the NFL level, So.
If you tell me his pops was a high school coach, would I be surprised? Nope.
His name is T.J. Yates. I guarantee you his pops was a high school coach. His brother's a legend at his high school that he had to live up to, all that.
Yeah, if you go back to high school, T.J. Yates was the man. No doubt.
Oh, you don't know about the Yates? Man, it's just like a whole family deal. I don't know any of these other coaches per se. I've seen some of these names. I don't know if they're who I think. Like Brian Griffin is a coach. I don't know if that's the player that I'm thinking of. Whole new regime change. So I don't know if Arthur Smith's deal 6 years like Motor City Dan Campbell. Do they giving him that much of a?
I don't know if Arthur Blank has that much patience. I think his patience has gotten a lot lower.
Oh, he's up there too. He's up there in age.
That's what I'm saying. And knowing that you made it to the Super Bowl just a couple of years ago, and you had it, and then until you didn't, literally.
Everybody remembers you dancing, Arthur Blank.
Right. So
all hyped. And I was just like, oh man, don't celebrate too early.
I can see him being an owner of little patience. So they're gonna have to switch this thing around quickly.
Well, he's an owner of little patience because he is a sideline visitor. We have seen that.
He always comes down. Which, if I'm a head coach or if I'm a player, I'm like, you're in your classroom and the principal comes in, you're like, oh.
Well, I mean, Roger Harper knows he had the Jerry Jones effect. When the owner's on the sideline, field level, just looking at you, and it's just like, God damn it.
You know what I'm saying? Like, nobody wants that shit.
Yeah, what are you down here for? Ah, fuck.
Like, did Robert Kraft do that? I'm trying to think. Did Robert Kraft do that at all?
Never. Too classy. He's up in the press box, entertained celebrities, John Mellencamp and Stephen Marky Mark and Steven Tyler and all the Boston celebrities,
You know what I'm saying? Yeah. And Meek Mill.
Yeah, he had Meek.
That's right.
Yeah, you don't come down there. You know which quarterback we failed to mention, who could I don't know, something could happen with him, and he could make a difference on his squad for a while.
Cam Newton.
Minshew.
Listen,
Minshew is out there.
You know how much
very interesting.
You know how much I love Uncle Rico.
Yes.
That guy can play football. I don't care what he looks like. He could have the shortest jean shorts ever. That guy could fucking play.
Could he end up in Houston? Could he end up in Atlanta? Just like
he's going to end up being a backup somewhere. But yeah, Roger Harper, we talked about Cam Newton to Atlanta. We started that conversation like halfway through the season when Cam started to fall off. We were just like, all right, he's not going to be back in New England. We see that. Where can he go? I'm just like, oh, go back home. Go back home. And Cam gives you more than just he can still run. So you have the whole running game option. Jimmy G won a playoff game with 8 throws, right? So it can be. Cam can do that because you don't want him to throw it more than 8 times anyway with that arm. So Cam.
I mean, also I would. Well,
Cam's going to be cheap too, Roger Harper, like super cheap. He played for $1 million in New England.
Yeah. The thing too is we don't know. We saw, and I don't know if we really appreciate this enough. The effects of Rona on different players.
With
Lamar Jackson, it didn't really seem like it truly affected him. He came back, he was doing it.
Cam came back a whole different quarterback.
It really hit him hard. Plus the fact he had no training camp and was still learning the plays. I mean, and he now missed this crucial practice time. Things were just stacked against him.
Well, I think if he goes back home to Atlanta, and plus we talked about it, Cam in that all-black uniform with the visor, that would just look good.
So you would hope that whatever the effects Rona had on him, that they're not permanent, like continue to be long-lasting. He never got through it last season. No. Like he was just affected, just like Myles Garrett was affected. As soon as he had it, he was not the same player for the remainder of the season. Was not. So we need to see next season these guys that had hit that hard, if they've gotten through it, and then if they can recover fully and if that's the case, just give Cam some time to get in the system, learn the system. Cam will be fine. I think Cam he plays like a corner, like in that regard, where it's all about his confidence. It's really all about it.
Yeah, 100%.
He's make it happen. It's going to happen. He just needs that time to prepare. So it would be interesting to see him back in Atlanta.
Oh, I'd love it. It would motivate him too.
But then again, I don't want to see him. Oh well, I would love to see him and Julio together, but they still got Ridley. So
well, here's the thing. All right, so you got Russell Gage and you got Calvin Ridley and you got the Zacchaeus. So Cam Newton, his arm does not take advantage of any of that. He can't throw it. He can't throw it like he's not throwing for 4,000 yards. I don't care. It's Cam Newton. He's not throwing for. Matt Ryan threw for 4,600 yards last year.
Yeah.
That's going to take Cam Newton 10 years of his career to hit that many. It seems like.
Nah, come on now,
dude. This guy.
He did it.
I'm talking now. 10 years of this current Cam.
Well, yeah.
This guy's dude.
We don't know because since his shoulder injury years ago.
And plus, you're looking at a receiving core in New England that was the worst in football, by far.
Like you question why N'Keal Harry is even in the league.
And then your number one receiver is a former quarterback for NC State.
Yeah. Yeah, I know.
Yeah, it was bad. It was bad this year in New England. So I'm looking at the stats now because we got about 8 minutes left on this one. So Todd Gurley was their leading rusher, but he's got to go. Brian Hill was their leading backup, actually, and I don't even know who that is.
Yeah, that's right.
And then Ito Smith came in at the end of the year.
At the end, they were kicking the tires on him, see what he could do.
Yeah. Let's see. Receiving was all Calvin Ridley and Russell Gage. Julio Jones had 51 catches, but I don't remember any of them.
Right. You got to really watch this Zacchaeus kid.
Zacchaeus and then Hayden Hurst. Hayden Hurst
Hayden Hurst is going to have a better year. It's going to be his second year in the system.
56 catches, 6 touchdowns, average 10 yards catch.
He'll have a better year this upcoming season.
So then you go after that, though, and it's problematic because it's all running backs. Brian Hill, Todd Gurley, Ito Smith. So
who didn't really impact.
That's what I'm saying. So once you get past the starters, nobody contributed for them. So you're looking at a lack of depth, which, again, is a lack of preparation, and it goes back to coaching and leadership because your backups and whatnot have to be prepared. That's on the coaching staff.
Absolutely.
Come on, dude. Keon O'Neal, A.J. Terrell, Isaiah Oliver, 1, 2, 3, are 3, 4, and 5 in their top 5 in tackling. That's corner, and safety.
That's bad.
Yeah.
That's real bad.
Yeah, and dude, I mean, their starting corners both had over 70 tackles. That's terrible.
And see and at each level, you have guys who can't stay healthy. Neal has had injury issues. Jones has had injury issues. And then on the line, Jackson in and out the lineup. But then you just don't have anyone who you're afraid of. So teams just open up their playbook on them. It doesn't matter how far they're down. They know they can throw on you. We know we can do this. And we'll still run on you, too. They're not afraid.
So Dante
on the Falcons makes them afraid.
So Dante Fowler Jr. had 23 tackles last season.
Wow.
That's a lot of money for 23 tackles from a D end and 3 sacks.
Yeah.
Wow. He did not contribute at all. They just don't have anybody. They haven't had anybody on their D line for the longest.
See, that's the thing. Not identifying who can do what for your team. Looking at Dante Fowler, they should have already identified that he's a guy who needs to be on a team that already has playmakers. He's just going to be a contributor. He's not that dude. He's just not. It's not a knock on him. It's just that's what your career has shown that.
Well,
your history has shown that. You're just not that guy.
Yeah, but that's what happens when you win a couple. You win some rings up in New England. It's the New England effect that happened forever, where people just want a piece of the Patriot way.
Yeah.
Yeah, they got a piece of it. They didn't, not the one they wanted though.
Not the one.
Dude, he didn't do anything for New England until that one Super Bowl run. He had a really good playoff run, 3 games in a row where he really showed up, and it was just like, oh, he's about to get paid. Not by these guys though.
Yeah.
So yeah, I mean, you're looking at a big lack of depth, a huge lack in leadership, and there's still that dark cloud hanging over the Falcons' head of Matt Ryan is still there. You're still the quarterback who blew that game. No one can trust you in the clutch. And you've proven it time and time again. You're going to blow leads because I don't care if the defense isn't playing. If you're already up 14, 16, 18, 21, 24 points, just keep scoring. You're fucking Matt Ryan.
So then that really then points to I need a freaking running back who I can trust, that I can run my 3-4 minute offense when I'm up. When I could start running my 3-4 minute offense in the third quarter. Because I have the receivers that can bowl me out. I can get a 21 point lead on you like that. I have that. So now I just need to maintain. If Atlanta with a good running game, just give me 24 points, right? That's it. Give me between 18, 24 points. And then I'll run the timeout. The defense should be able to hold 24 points. But the defense needs help with the running game. Their running game is so anemic. They need to get a guy in there who can run the rock. So I say move back, get more picks, get an edge rusher, you make sure you lock up, get a running back. I mean, you got some running backs in there. You got Travis Etienne, you got Najee Harris, which should be the number one running
That's
back
who they should take.
out of Alabama.
They should move back and pick up Najee Harris.
That's it. Get him. Get Najee Harris, and then start getting edge rushers and guys on D, and prep for Julio's departure, and solidify your running game, because you're right. Their offensive line is good. They're good to go. Defensive line, no. They got a defensive backfield, and you got Jones in the middle. They're talented on defense. They're just not making requisite plays. But I'm telling you, with the right leadership, that defense can turn around, and they absolutely need an edge rusher. Absolutely.
Yes. So, we'll see what they do. They need a lot. New coaching regime, though, so we'll see how that regime, what the changes, because you see with Joe Judge and Brian Flores, you see the culture change immediately. So we'll see how that works out for them.
Rosters, you look at those rosters, you don't think you feel like they might get blown out every game, but then you watch the games and you're hearing there's a guy named Fackrell. I was like, who is this?
Fersker. There's
there's Fersker in Tennessee. Fackrell playing linebacker for the Giants.
See, Vrabel's another coach that the players are just like, yo, we're all in behind this coach.
We're all in.
And that happened immediate.
Getting guys like Christian Wilkins is playing out of his mind. Yeah, he was a beast at Clemson, but now, I mean, they were missing a lot of guys too, Miami. A lot of guys opted out. They're going to be tough. They were
super tough.
Didn't even know.
So you know who's not going to be tough is a team that we're going to cover next week. And it might take a fourth session to cover the trade fire, the dumpster fucking fire that is the Houston Texans.
Oh, boy.
Yeah. I mean, there's going to be a lot of free agent moves in this coming week, so we'll have a lot to talk about as far as team building and how things are shaping themselves out. There's going to be some, now that Dak signed, there's going to be some quarterback dominoes fall this week, I'm pretty sure. But none of it's going to help the Houston Texans, and I don't even think that we can help them. But we will try next week, same place, same time. Kerry and Roger, you guys know I appreciate your time. Everybody who watches us talk about football, I don't know why, but you're fucking awesome. I love you guys. You guys will hear if there's going to be some trades that are going to happen, and you're going to get a text from me like, are you fucking kidding me? So You guys will hear from me. Roger Harper, you already know, homie. So until next week, I'll see you guys. Stay safe out there. The Roni is still around the corner. I don't care how warm it is. So I appreciate everybody for coming through. I'm going to end this one and go hang out with my dog. Christopher, what up, homie? So thanks to Roger and Kerry for coming through, and that was our Atlanta Falcons breakdown. And we'll see how much farther they break down themselves.